Good evening, everyone from Saint-Auban, and welcome to the briefing for the fifth day of the competition, the 9th of September 2021. The program of the day, we'll talk about the results from yesterday, the overall results, the weather, the task, and the procedure arrival for Saint-Auban flight safety, and again, a surprise tonight for you with us to comment the race. And then I will wish you a pleasant flight from Saint-Auban airfield. So that's the team. You know it already. So just to recap, just a words for the team to say thank you to everyone involved to make this happen. And yeah, see you later with all the commentators tonight. That's the event calendar that you know as well. Every evening, the virtual race starts at 8 p.m. The schedule of a competition day, so you can follow the real Sailplane Grand Prix during the day and then do the races in the evening. You have the briefing right now, and then you join the servers 15 minutes later at 8 p.m. Then we expect the arrivals at 10:30 to 11:15 every evening, and then the podium the next day. Scoring, it's quite good, to be honest, for everyone. So just remember year, month, and day with the usual file name that you're using already. Additional info, so nothing special really today. We have modified some scoring issues, and you've been advised of this. Day 4 is official now. Day 5 will be unofficial tomorrow at 10 UTC, so that's 12 Central Eastern Time, and then official at 18 UTC, so that's 6 p.m. UTC. Reminder about the server problem that we had 2 days ago. It was solved within 30 minutes. Some pilots could fly the servers, but some couldn't. So the decision is quite simple. We will establish the final ranking with the top 6 flights instead of 7 on the open event. You can still post your files. We'll receive some messages with people unable to do it, but we will reply tomorrow morning for those guys. That's the podium from yesterday, and we had a nice interview afterwards with Witold Rozak from Poland, winning the race with 142.7 kph, followed by Jeroen Jenen from Belgium, 141 kph, and the Frenchman Donapierre Luigi on the podium with 139.4 kph. On the overall results right now, we have Benfest from Germany leading with 28 points. Witold Rozak now with 27, Jeroen Jenen with 25, and Donapierre Luigi 23. Arne Martin Gutler from Norway 21, Joshua Meyers from the US with 18 points, the first pilot flying the GS3. Then Mikko Nurminen from Finland with 13 points. Tim Madsen from Denmark, 9 points. Same points for Gorka Eldoyen from Spain, and Mobuhiro Okada from Japan, playing the Ventus 3, has 5 points. Airpaces are free today. We will fly quite low. There will be no waves, so don't worry. It's going to be okay. Weather of the day. Look at the picture on the right. It's going to be quite fun for you guys. The wind is light with maximum 15 kph at 5,000 meters. Wave, almost no wave. Thermals 0.5 to 1.5 meters per second. Ceilings at 2,200 meters. And cirrus clouds 8 out of 8. That's the day 5 for the task of the day. Today in the real Sailplane Grand Prix, Sebastian Kawa won the day, followed by Mario Kisling and Tilo Arigos. Airborne start as usual at 17:56 QNH. Then the task is 254 kilometers. Start from Ganagobi, that's southwest of Saint-Auban in the valley. Then you go straight to Beaumont de Pertuis, so that's on the Durance Valley near Vinon, between Manosque and Vinon. Then you will go to Sainte-Croix, just next to the lake. Then up north to Valenty, so that's some outlanding fields between Sisteron and Gap. TP4 is Montfort, that's the small village on the west side of Saint-Auban. Then back to Saint-Jurs for TP5. And TP6 is Sisteron Citadel, so that's Sisteron City. Then back to reporting point 200 and finish line at 200 as usual as well. Maximum ground speed 170 kph and maximum altitude for start. You know it's already 1,800 meters above main sea level. Minimum altitude for finish 500 meters still. Please be careful with this. We've had some scoring with that. So some people flying at 480 meters or something like this. So be careful. Landing procedures, nothing special. The line is before the hangars now. Remember, it's really at the entry of the airfield. For low pass, please go to the center line and then you will pull just a beam the hangars, the green hangars of the French team, and then you will make a short circuit to land. Direct landing is straight ahead, really on the whiskey side of Saint-Auban. Arrival penalties. So I just talked about it before. It's only 2 seconds per meter with a 5 meters margin, but please try to not go in that penalty zone. Safety, always the same problem with you guys, always trying to fly very efficiently, but you often have an excess of energy, and then we see you pulling the air brakes just before the line or something like this. You're always at the edge because you're very good pilots, but that doesn't make the results at the end of the day. Outlanding, it was good as was yesterday. No problem with this. Don't push too hard. Always make a proper landing circuit just as you were flying in real life. Thermal, same commands. Always watch out. Be careful. There is no button to have a miracle and to stay in the air if you collide in the air with someone else. So just be careful and try to race safely. Some examples from yesterday from Mark Thiel. So that was Vic and Vitold. Some low ridges before reaching turn point 1. But honestly, it could have been worse. That was before reaching Aix-en-Diois, and that was not an easy leg. The first leg, we lost some leaders there, so that's quite understandable. Kilo Hotel, a bit low in the Ubaye Valley again. So that's near Barcelonnette and Josier. But yeah, okay, only 115 meters missing to arrive at the outlanding zone at 200 meters AGL. We have a special guest tonight with us, Chris Wegwood from the Condor team. So you will be able to ask him some questions in the chat and during the live. So he will be there approximately in 40 minutes, I think, to be with us on the FAA channel. Do you have some question, guys? I'll be with you on the pilot frequency in a few seconds if you have question, and you have Jean-François as well to answer those questions. Thanks a lot. Enjoy the flight. It's going to be a little bit more difficult than usual. There will be a little bit more cumulus as well, but weaker thermals. So just enjoy the flight. Today it was great to see that in Saint-Auban, really close arrivals. So I guess tonight will be the same. I hope it will be the same. And I will see you on the FAI channel to comment the live tonight. Thank you, and see you in about 5 minutes to start the live. Good evening, everyone, and welcome on the fifth competition day today. I am with Mark Travner from Slovenia commenting the race. Good evening, Mark.
Hello, good evening. It's nice to be back for another exciting day of virtual racing.
Yeah, indeed. So we have a nice day today, but pretty difficult task. Weaker weather than what we had the days before. So the pilots are going to fly to the southeast, to the southwest, sorry, heading towards Vinon, then close to the lake of Sainte Croix, then back to the north between Sisteron and Gap. And then they will play around Saint-Auban, basically. So we'll see Saint-Auban airfield quite a lot today. You will see some more cumulus than what we had for the previous days. But yeah, as I just said, much weaker. So the pilots will have to make quite a lot of selections in the thermals.
Yeah, we're gonna see a really interesting day, and with more cumulus and them being weaker, we will probably see also a bit more of different lines being taken by everybody.
Yeah, exactly. So that's going to be quite interesting to follow. So that's the 2D view that we have. All the pilots have joined the race, and they are all trying to gain some altitude before the race starts.
Yes, if we compare this to what we saw just a few hours ago in the non-virtual Sailplane Grand Prix finals, again, there was also a bit weaker day for the real guys. They only achieved speeds of 100 kilometers per hour, 100.1, so almost exactly 100 kilometers per hour. Sebastian Kawa was their winner today, and that also took him in the overall lead of the competition. Do you expect higher speeds? We were talking about maybe achieving 110, 120 today in the virtual world.
Yeah, I think they will be able to do that because in the real SGP, it was really overcast. So it was really difficult for the pilots, but they had some good lift from time to time. So they still managed to get to 100 kph to complete the task. I think today is going to be a little bit easier in Condor, even with the weak thermals, because we have a good ceiling today with a 2,200, 2,300 meters QNH. So yeah, I think they will be able to fly nicely in the flatlands first, and then along some ridges.
Yeah, and with the task being only 254 kilometers long, we can also expect a really tight finish, as there will not be so much time for pilots to spread out. So we're gonna see different tactics, but again, a close finish, and I think I cannot wait to see who's gonna come on top today.
Yeah, exactly. In Saint-Auban today, it was really nice to follow the arrivals. They were really close to each other, and everyone arrived within 10 minutes, basically. So I think we can expect more or less the same tonight. Really close arrivals, and so the pilots must be careful about the penalties, because we've had quite some penalties at start with ground speed limits. We were much well, they were not respected. Basically, they flew. Some of them flew at 190 kph to cross the line, and it's maximum 170. So that cost quite a lot of seconds, and it's a big penalty for the pilots, and they lose quite some places when it's tight like this.
Yes, we see pilots not having too much trouble at the start here. I think pretty much everybody is already above the maximum allowed starting altitude, at least from the guys we see around the start line. Yeah, the weather looks really good. We try to give our virtual pilots as close to similar conditions as they were in real life on the given day. We cannot set for all weather situations. So today, I think they have a small advantage compared to the guys who flew in real life just a few hours ago.
Yeah, exactly. You're right, Mark. We're trying to get as close as we can, but there's still some limitation in the game. So we will have Chris from the Condor team later tonight with us, and we'll be able to answer your questions. So if you have some question, you can already drop them in the comment section or in the chat, and we'll ask him those questions later in the evening. You can talk about anything: the gliders, the polars, the weather, what are their plans, anything, and we will ask that to Chris, and hopefully will give us some answers on the future of Condor. And we are back with Arne Martin Guttler in his cockpit.
Yeah, again, we are able to bring you this really nice view. He is flying at home with his Oculus virtual reality gear. So we really see firsthand how it looks like for the pilots competing. And he has a really nice thermal, as I can see on the screen.
Yeah, it's quite good, 2.5 meters per second. There are quite a lot of cumuluses, but they will have to make really the good choices and select the cumuluses. So that's going to be quite interesting to follow. I think 2.5 is very nice for the day. But today as well, they had some lift like this with 2.5, and we can see the race will start in about 15 minutes now.
Yeah, we talked about pilots being quite impatient at the start. We have a lot of penalties for crossing the start line too fast or too soon. It's not really worth it today, is it? As every day.
No, it's not worth it at all. And absolutely not today, because we think that the results are going to be tight. So if you get 10 or 20 or 90 seconds penalty, you can drop a lot in the rankings and lose all the points. And all your work that you have done during the day can be already gone just for a start penalty. So just imagine, that's what I said. I went to the pilot frequency when they were taking off more or less in the game. And I told them, guys, please try to be careful because we have a lot of penalties with the start, and you are losing way too much points. Be careful with this, because you lose 5 places, then you lose 6 points or something like this. So you really must be careful with that if you want to have a nice overall ranking at the end of the week.
And we had a lot of ridge flying in the previous days. So how are the wind conditions today?
Yeah, so wind is really light today actually, and we will not fly a lot along the ridges. It's mainly flatland. So that's we can already check the overall results right now. So that's Benfest, the German pilot, leading by a point with 28 points in front of Witold Rozak from Poland, who won yesterday's race. Jeroen Jenen, very consistent pilot from Belgium as well, with 25 points. Donner Pierluigi, he was supposed to lead the competition right now, but he's made a lot of mistakes. He's had a lot of penalties, and he dropped in the ranking on day 2 from first place to 8th or 9th place. So he lost a lot of points. And now he's only on the 4th position. He can still make it and win the day. We have 3 days left, but he has made a lot of mistakes on the start. Then we have Arne Martin Guttler from Norway with 21 points. Joshua Meyers from the US on a GS3 with 18 points. And then Mikko Nurminen from Finland, 13 points. Tim Madsen, Gorka Doyen with 9 points. And the Japanese pilot with 5 points at the 10th position.
Yeah, really exciting stuff up there on the top, with top 3 pilots being separated by just 3 points, so everything can change already today. We saw Ben yesterday. He was leading quite comfortably the overall, but then he got in trouble. Yeah, everything can change so fast. So we are not sure who's going to be on top after today, and even after 4 days of racing, we are not sure who's going to be the overall winner, just like we like it. And I still think there's like 5-6 pilots who can take their overall honors at the end.
Yeah, indeed. And we're back with Jeroen Jenen from Belgium, flying now at 2,200 meters. Yeah, with, as we said, some good lift up to 2,300 meters, so it's going to be quite okay. And I think they can fly a little bit faster than the real SGP pilots today.
If we have the option to do that, I would maybe suggest that now that we have 11 minutes before the start, we maybe take a look of Sebastian Cava's flight from today into the view, so we can maybe see where we can expect our pilots to go. What can you say about this, Antoine?
Yeah, so the start. So basically, it's only flatland on the first leg. So you can see start is the S. Ganagobi, just southwest of Saint-Auban in the valley for 10 kilometers. And then they go straight in the valley towards Vinon, and they stop in a small village a little bit before Vinon. So that's on the east side of the track at the beginning. So that's on the edge of the Plateau de Puy-Michel, which is 400 meters above the valley, more or less. So that's quite good to be next to it. And then he's catching just one thermal on before 10.1. So I think the pilots will do the same, more or less, just one thermal. Then he's taking 2 or 3 thermals to reach 10.2, which is next to Lac de Sainte-Croix, because the ground here is becoming higher and higher by the time you reach 10.2. Then you need to go up north to 10.3. That's the one that is really above on the screen. And that's in the valley, again, between Sisteron and Gap in the flatland area. So then you need to find some more thermals. But as you can see, he didn't really use the ridges today. There were some pilots who did that in a real race. I think Christophe Abadi from the French team has done that. It was not good in the end for him, but it was an option, and he tried. Yeah.
Yeah, we see a lot of deviation from Sebastian, especially in the second leg. He really had to go far north to find those 3 precious thermals that he had in that leg.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was something with the sun on that leg, and he probably had to turn a little bit more to the north of this leg to find good lift. It was probably more or less dead and weak thermals on the leg if you were going straight ahead.
Yeah, we do not expect this to happen in our race today. We do think there will be some more straight line flying, some more following the legs strictly. But on the other hand, I do hope we do get some tricky conditions somewhere on the way to separate the winners from those who will come up a bit short today.
Yeah, exactly, Mark. That would be very interesting. And we're still waiting for the pilots to drop their water ballast. So yeah, I said that as well on the pilot frequency, guys. Don't forget that you may have weak thermals today, and you can drop your water, because often they want to keep it until the end, and then they outland when it's too late. So just drop your water and try to stay in the air and continue the race, and maybe you will get in the points even without any water. So just manage your flight, your wing loading, to try to finish the race first, and then if you can get some points, that's even better.
Yeah, as you said, we haven't seen a single pilot, I think, drop water, at least from our leading pack in any of the days. And this might also be a really interesting question for our guest today, as how come pilots kind of tend not to drop water ballast in the virtual world, because in real life we see that way more often. Again, we have Chris from Condor team coming to us in roughly shortly after the start of today's task.
Yeah, exactly.
You're all encouraged to post any questions you have, maybe even ideas for him. We will be. I'm sure he'll be happy to answer all of your questions and give some really good comments and feedback.
Yeah, so we're back with Davide Giovanelli, the pilot from Switzerland right now, flying the GS3. He has made his first point, I think, 2 days ago. Davide, he has the start of the competition was difficult because he's flying with a lot of very, very experienced pilots on Condor. And Davide is a real pilot. He's not competing a lot on Condor. So he has a little bit less experience on Condor, but much more experience on real races. He's made already 3 times 1,000 kilometer task in the Alps. So that's really a big achievement for any pilot to do that. So he has a really good experience in his career. Now is the time to improve on Condor for him. And he's doing a great job. He's improving every single day so far.
Yes, we see a lot of fluctuation in pilot performances for the day. So I do expect somebody from the top group today to maybe be dropped unexpectedly. which will definitely mix up the results. We're 5 minutes away from the start. Maybe if we can go to the 2D view to see how the pilots are getting prepared for this. No panic at the moment. Everybody is still turmoiling where they were. Nobody really went along the task. Only exception maybe Tango Kilo Mike, who went, I would say, 3-4 kilometers to the south. He'll have some insight into how weather looks down there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're right. I think he's tried to check what was going on the first leg, and it's right to do it. Honestly, it's a good idea to do it. So we'll see if it helps him for the rest of the day.
Yeah, it's a good idea to do it when you know you can come back and take the start line at the right altitude and the right height. I guess this can be a bit more stressful in the sailplane style start because
Yeah.
you have to start at the exact moment, and also 1 minute beforehand you already have to be on the right side of the starting line to avoid penalty. While in the normal racing, if you got low, maybe while sniffing the area, you would still have an option to come back, take some time to get back to the altitude, and then take the start.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. But that's as well the interest of Sailplane Grand Prix. Just regatta start and everyone starting in the front line, starting at the same time. It's something really exciting for everyone to follow. But indeed, for the pilots, it's not the same tactic that you can use before the start. You cannot sniff everywhere you want before taking the start. So you don't have a lot of information before really starting the race.
Yes, but what you do have is 19 other world-class pilots who will battle the same weather conditions with you.
That's true.
And then we usually, so far, we always see one of them pushing harder than everybody else from the start. And on the one hand, he gets the advantage, but especially today when it's going to be really important to find the best thermal, he's just going to be the sniffer for everybody else. So we'll see if they might decide to start a little bit more conservatively than the other days.
Yeah, I hope they're gonna do that because I went to talk with them, so I hope they're gonna do that. Honestly, they have lost too many points on start penalties, so they should really relax and they should understand that the start is just here to make everyone start at the same time to offer a fair race. It's not here to offer you 20 more kilometers than someone else and so on. We just want a safe start. It's a short line, only 5 kilometers long, with 20 pilots in front line. We just want a safe start, so just don't try to rush. Don't make dangerous maneuvers. Use your air brakes, manage your energy, and that will be fine. And you will not get any penalties. And at the end of the week, you will have earned much more than that. And yesterday it was interesting because we could see de Napier, the French pilot. He was a bit behind everyone. He started the race much lower than everyone, and I think 1 minute later, and still he finished at the first position overall. So you can still make very good results, but you started the task 1 minute later and 100 meter below. So nothing is done at the start. You still have the race to win the day.
Yes, just this moment looking at some of the liveries that pilots are flying. We have this beautiful Portuguese livery for Silva, and we say this every day, but I'll say it again. Feel free to download them. They're all available. They were all designed especially for this event to distinguish pilots from different countries from each other. All 20 pilots come from 20 different countries around the world. And that means we have 20 unique liveries for you to enjoy when you do your Condor flights.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark, for saying it. Indeed, and this Portuguese livery is really one of the favorites from the organizing team. Like everyone really liked it. So yeah, you can find a lot of nice livery like this on Condor Club. And the race now will start in 1 minute. And pilots are advised still only to turn left. That was for the 4 last minutes already. but now they need to be on the right side of the start line, and that's the case for everyone. And now the start will take place in 40 seconds.
Yes, everybody approaching the starting line. Don't forget, they cannot come too fast and they cannot come too high. But I think I see their Tango Sierra coming really low, actually.
Yeah. He struggled to climb, I think. He was maybe a little bit impatient. That's you can see as well. Mike X-ray, Novum X-ray. They will have to make some left turns to wait because everyone is way too early on that line. Look at this. They're too
This
early.
this is also quite dangerous and really not
Yeah.
encouraged what Mike Xer just did. And you can see everybody flying a bit parallel with the starting line just to
Yeah.
avoid starting too fast. Guys, it's a 2-hour race. You will not win it here.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, they forget that they have the option actually to just slow down with the air brakes. Just slow down, just fly at 100 kph and wait, and then you will accelerate back to 150 before taking the start. So it's quite okay.
Yes, we'll see how this goes from this point onwards now. We expect pilots to spread out a bit more than most of the days. But for now, it seems like they have a quite good cumuluses directly in front of them. They had to drop down quite significantly below the cloud base because of the start line rules. So I think we can expect them to start terminaling fairly soon, as soon as they get a good chance to do so.
Yeah, exactly. I'm really looking forward to the choices of the pilots that we will make in the next few minutes. Will some pilots try to take the first thermals to stay as close as they can from the maximum ceiling, so from the base cloud, or will they try to fly as much as they can, as long as they can, up to 10.1, and then just take a lift just before 10.1 or just after? That we will see.
I'm sorry for the delay. I was just checking something. Could we
No
maybe
worries.
see the 2D view and see if all the pilots are flying the same path? This is what I was really missing because of the ridge flying. It gives us some really exciting landscape views. But look at this. Now you have this straight line of gliders flying parallel, which practically each one of them having their own unique idea and own cumulus in front of them that they have selected to be their favorite.
Yeah, that's quite funny to see. Actually, that's really why we want pilots to fly a maximum 170 kph, because you are in front line and you cannot check what's going on your left, on your right, above you, below you, and so on. So you must be really careful. And now you can see that everyone is like in the front line, and we will see maybe two gaggles forming in the next few minutes with pilots trying to reach the first cumuluses.
First groups have, I think, already starting to reach the first cumuluses. We see who will get the thermal first. As on the other hand, we do have some pilots who are, I would say, quite lower compared to everybody else. The start really didn't go to everybody's plans. I'm always surprised to see that. It's more difficult than you might think just watching it.
Yeah, definitely. And we are back with Josh Meyers now. He's often leading the race, Joshua. So yeah, I can't wait to see what he will do today. Will he be the kind of pilot of the day today? Yeah, that's something that maybe you can expect. Yesterday, he flew very well, but he was quite low at turn point 3 or 4. I think that was in the Gap Valley, just north of Gap yesterday, and he was flying much lower than everyone, more or less 1,000 meters below. And yeah, he lost his places by flying a little bit too fast at some point.
Yeah, he risked a lot. Unfortunately for him, it didn't pay off, but it gave us a good show, which we appreciate as well.
Yeah, definitely. So we have, as we said, two gaggles now. with Tango Sierra behind them. Yankee Zulu Romeo, that's the Japanese pilot. Fox One in the first thermal, and then we have Mike Yankee Romeo, Mike X-Ray Sierra Sierra Lima, Tango Uniform Romeo Alpha Mike, Triple Juliet as well on the west side. So probably Ben Fest and Donna Pierre and Vitold Rozak on the right giggle right now.
You can see how good job Fox One did in this past few minutes. He's circling in with the group, and he's the highest place glider, even though he's the one whose red trail we see there with the 90-degree turn. So he really took the start very well. But even with that detour, he's still the one that's highest. While the other group further west did not find a thermal and have to push onwards. And we have Tango Sierra still there, way, way, way below everybody else. I did not expect pilots to be in trouble so soon.
Yeah, I think the start of Tango Sierra was a bit low, so he's probably quite struggling right now. He doesn't have a lot of options with him on the cumulus. We have Santiago as well, flying at 1,400 meters. But honestly, in real life, it's often the case when you come from Saint-Auban and you go heading towards Vinon, it's often not really, really good to fly in that way.
Well, it is an area we haven't explored yet. We haven't had a task in this direction, I think, so far, if I'm correct.
Yeah, exactly. That's something we do a lot here, but it hasn't been done yet. So that's the first day that we can fly in flatlands right at the beginning of the start. So that's really interesting to see. It's really different. It's another flight. It's so different from what we've seen so far. No ridges, no big mountains. It's gonna be only flatland, and maybe Mikko Nurminen from Finland will fly very well today because he's really used to those flatlands.
I must say personally, this is the kind of flying I prefer as well. I can tell you just looking at Alpha Mike's stream that's also available on Twitch for all of you. The other group now also find a thermal, and he's circling 1. Oh, perfect. Thank you for putting that up on the screen. He's thermaling with 1.9, 1.8 meters, which is quite solid. And I'm not sure if the other group, the East group, let's call them that way, had this strong thermal.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think they've made a quite good choice here. 2 meters per second today is quite good. I think when we saw 2.5, it was more or less the maximum that they could have today, and they need to be patient and to take the best ones. And I think 2 meters per second here is quite good. Even 1.5 is good.
But crucially for the pilots that were in this group and were the lowest, so Santiago and Davide, I think they're not here in this gaggle. I think they pushed forward.
Yeah, I think they don't have a lot of choice now. They need to push forward and get a good thermal in front of them to be able to catch back the guys that were flying above them. So yeah, that's a difficult situation to be in.
Yeah, and just as we said it, I think they found it. Both of them are here. This is now our leading group, even though they're a bit lower. They're ahead of everybody else. And behind them, there are two groups. We saw the first one with Alpha Mike just a few seconds ago, and the third group contains our overall leader, I think Ben, and also Fox One and Donat Pierre. So I think most of the favorites.
Yeah, exactly. I think Donapia is really disappointed because he's had a lot of penalties, as we said in the briefing and at the beginning of this live. Really, a lot of penalties. He dropped from first position to 8th or 9th position. So just imagine, he's lost a lot of points. He should be the leader of the competition right now, but he's made some mistakes with two starts who were at much higher speed than what we want. He was flying at 189 kph at start, and for each kilometers above, you get a 5-second penalty. So just imagine how many seconds he had there. Results were very tight, and it dropped immediately in the ranking. So it's a big disappointment for him. So he needs to catch up some points if he wants to make the podium now.
I would like to quickly answer the question that one of you posted on YouTube. No, we are still waiting for Chris. You haven't missed the interview with him. He'll be coming shortly, so stay tuned for that. Meanwhile, I would like to thank all of you for being with us tonight. I hope you're having fun as much as we are, and I'm sure we can give you a really good race. Please, we would really appreciate if you share this with your friends, anybody else who might be interested in following us, and yeah, let's have a nice and exciting evening of racing altogether.
Yeah, and we're back with the German pilots. The leader of the competition tonight, that's Ben Fest from Germany, and we have Tim Madsen, the Danish pilots, on his left. They're heading towards turn point 1. That was just in front of them, and as you could see, there was quite a lot of cumuluses on the footage that we just saw. I think Alpha Mike is, yeah, just flying behind November X-ray, so that's Mikko Nurminen, and he's gonna reach another thermal soon. He is flying now, Arne Martin at 1,900 meters, so he's gonna arrive above the guys in front of him.
Yeah, we still see these two distinct lines, but with turn point coming really fast, they will converge. And I think at the third point, we can expect pretty much everybody is still together. And I must say, I'm really happy to see that.
Yeah, definitely. I think it's going to be quite close. We talked about that already. It was the same in real. Difficult weather means everyone is going to try to catch the same thermals and try to climb a little bit higher than the other pilots. So it's going to be very tight. That's why penalties are so important, honestly. So yeah, I can't wait to already be at the end of the race to see what's going to happen, because I think we're going to have a crazy arrival tonight.
As I can tell you, so far we have average speeds of around 100 kilometers per hour after only the first 20 kilometers of racing. So I'm sure the speeds will go up as we go along the evening. No much deviation now anymore. I think pilots are kind of getting focused now to that to turn the first turn point. The only exception being Sierra Lima Lima, who is, I think, too low and now has to try to find some alternative locations to get a good thermal. Looking from Alpha Mike's cockpit, the weather looks really nice up ahead. There are quite a lot of cumuluses, and I don't think pilots will be in any kind of trouble soon, as long as they don't push too hard, as Santiago did a short while ago.
Yeah, so we will have probably Chris from the conduct team in the next few minutes now. So you can already ask your questions in the chat. Just a point for tomorrow. So Mark will not be available tomorrow to comment with us. So that's going to be Brian Spreckley coming with us tomorrow evening. And then for the last day on Saturday, we'll probably at the bar in Saint-Auban Airfield, and we'll try to have the pilots coming in to talk about their flights, their Sailplane Grand Prix week. And yeah, I hope you're going to enjoy that. We'll try to have as much pilot that we can, and you will be able to ask your question. It's going to be more or less a direct interview, maybe, that we'll be able to do with you, the viewers, the public. So yeah, just enjoy, follow us tonight, tomorrow, and the next days to follow the end of this FAI Sailplane Grand Prix.
Yeah, a lot of exciting action to come, and make sure you do not miss it, as we have first pilots coming towards our first turn point. And what is Mike X-ray doing there? Is he going to Cumulus before turning the point?
I think now he's turning towards TP1. Maybe he will try to reach the cumulus just afterwards. Yeah.
How high is the terrain around first turn point? So roughly, how high AGL are pilots right now?
I think it's around 250, sorry, 250 meters AGL,
Oh,
AMSL, sorry.
okay, so they do have quite some reserve. So we are talking about 150, 200 meters lower terrain than what we are used to for most of the
Yeah,
competition days.
exactly. So that's Mikko from Finland. We said, yeah, he's coming from flatlands and he's quite used to fly in the flatlands. So that's a really great task for him today. I think he can score a lot of points. Maybe his best day today. And that was the first 34 kilometers of the race. And we are reaching TP1, Beaumont de Pertuis. Vinon is really not far away from that point.
Yeah, congratulations, Miko, and also at the same time a big thank you to all of the companies and people that you see on screen now who made this competition possible.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to say special thanks to FAVP, CNVV, Condor 2, and just Soaring because we prepared that competition with them, and it was a lot of investment for everyone. So yeah, thanks a lot to our partners.
Yeah, just Soaring also provides us with a quite good reward for our winners, which I think we will be able to mention again in the upcoming hours. It's really cool what the winning pilot will receive.
Yeah, indeed, they're gonna have a really nice. Well, the winner is gonna receive a nice simulator rig. So basically, it's a real simulator that you can have at home. It costs around $1,750, I think. You can import it from the US, and it's gonna be available in shop as well in the UK and in Europe. So yeah, just check out their website where they present the simulator. It's quite good, I think, to start flying virtually and for the esport pilots as well. So check out their link. They are as well on esport.sgp.aero. You can check the articles and the link on that page. So we have Sierra Lima, Santiago Lopez from Colombia, Tim Matson as well, who passed the point, and Mikko Nurminen, I think, is trying to get a thermal after the point. So that's quite surprising to see, honestly. But yeah, we will see what he's doing. Arne Martin Gutler from Norway reaching the turn point 1 as well.
Yeah, I think Miko is really regretting his choices from the last 5 minutes right now.
Yeah, he was leading the race properly, to be honest. So yeah, I hope it's going to be a really good thermal. I hope it's 4 meters per second. Otherwise, it's not a very good result for him now.
Yeah, it was the closest cumulus to the turn point that he went to. I'm not sure if he has a thermal there right now. Judging by altitude numbers, I would say yes. While everybody else is just following the next leg quite strictly, and they have, I think, 2 free cumuluses lined up perfectly for them. And after that, there is a smaller gap, but I do not see a problem right now for any of these pilots.
Yeah, indeed, it's just flatlands anyway. So if they have to just descend lower than the altitude that they are now, it will still be okay. Just overflying Vinon airfield right now, so you can see the runways of Vinon. It's just below Victor 1 right now. Yeah, thanks a lot, Tim. So we have mainly, we can say, 2 axes on the runway. One going to the east right now that we can overfly, and then the other one is going northwest, southeast. That's when we have the Mistral. That's the north wind blowing quite fast from the Rhone Valley, and it gives a lot of waves. And the pilots from Vinon really like it when they fly here.
Yeah, really, really nice sides below us. Also, a really high quality texture, I must say. It almost looks like a real life. And Yeah, really, really beautiful way to learn areas by flying virtually in them, and I think a really good training exercise for anybody who will come here and fly in real life.
Yeah, definitely. Really, Vinon is a major gliding club in the south of France, and a lot of pilots, French and foreign pilots, like to come here at any time during the year to fly because it's always flyable. So yeah, it's definitely a good choice if you want to learn how to fly or if you want to improve your skills in the Alps.
Almost a 2-meter thermal now again for Alpha Mike. It's a shame we don't have these numbers from everybody. This is something that we will work on in the future and bring it to you. You can see how much he's looking around, trying to see where other guys are. Of course, any mid-air collision or something like that is immediate disqualification from the day. We try to keep stuff as realistic as possible here. And I think this group here contains pretty much all of our favorites for the overall victory right now. Only exception maybe being, now looking at this, Juliet, who is a bit behind and also a bit lower. I think he's the first one of our top contenders,
Leaders, yeah.
to get dropped a bit.
Yeah, definitely. That's interesting to see now how he's gonna react, if he's gonna be able to catch a better thermal than the guys in front of him in the next minutes to catch the leaders now. Behind we have November X-Ray, the Turkish and Japanese pilot as well, the South African pilot. Yeah, but I think all the leaders are there on the first gaggle, and just JJJ is flying a little bit behind right now.
I'm surprised to see that there is one group that formed even before the turn point. I'm talking about the group containing Eco Uniform Sierra and I think 2 or 3 other gliders. They are quite far behind, even though we had only 34
Only 34,
kilometers of racing, and they're already minutes behind. Even though they are quite high, by the time they cross the turn point, the leaders are going to be long gone from where they're terminating right now.
Yeah, you're right. I'm quite surprised as well. So I think they're trying to be a little bit more conservative than the guys ahead. So maybe it will pay off in the end or during the race. So yeah, we will see. Everyone has its own strategy right now, but they are a bit split out. Still some gaggers and some groups of pilots here, but we will see what happens in the next minutes.
Yeah, I don't think a person who flies conservatively today will be the winner. There are a lot of cumuluses, and I think you will have to skip quite a lot of thermals, which are not strong enough to find the good ones. And staying up in the air doesn't seem to be an issue. It's just how fast can you get from point A to point B right now.
Yeah, definitely. We are, still some of them have to reach turn point 1 now. And we have Chris from the Condor team with us tonight. Can you hear us, Chris?
I think I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, amazing. Good evening. How are you?
I'm very good. Thank you very much, Steve.
Well, now, guys, it's time to ask your questions in the chat. Mark, did you see anything already coming up?
Yeah, there was quite a lot of stuff coming up, and while I go through this and try to find some good ones, I would just like to also say hi, Chris. Nice to have you here, and I will ask the first question. Have you been following our competition so far?
Yes, of course. We've been following the real life one and also the virtual competitions. It's a perfect. This is a sorry, because this is using the same task and mostly the same weather conditions, and the gliders they're using in the real competition are the same as the gliders we have in Condor. It's a perfect example for us to learn if we have the performances right and these types of things. And we're actually learning quite a lot from this, and especially how people are flying. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, thanks a lot for those comments, Chris. Yeah, Mark, you can go ahead with questions if you have some.
Yes, I would maybe follow up on what you just said. Can you tell us something specific that you learned in the past few days, comparing real life and virtual flights?
Sure. I mean, it's not something that we're going to need to be changing just yet, but it's very interesting to see the differences between Ventus 3, JS3, and now the new AS33. We are looking at this very closely because, of course, it's important for the quality of the simulator and also for the manufacturers of the real gliders that we get their performances and their relative abilities right. And so we're watching very carefully, especially when they are doing final glide with very close together, and so we can be sure that we have it right. So that's a particular thing that I've been looking at with the others this week. But I'm sure that later there'll be more to come. I'm quite interested in how they're using FLAM these days as well, with the ability to see who the other pilots are and what their performances are, what climb rates they're getting.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Chris. Well, there is a question coming up in my mind because Matthew Scudder from Australia, who is also working a lot with SkySight weather forecast, he was maybe offering you to create live weather to make that available in Condor in the future. Maybe not this year or next year. Maybe in 2 or 3 years. Is really open to talk about that. So, do you think that it would be a good idea to be able to have live weather just as it is in some simulators like X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Simulator right now? And do you think it's feasible to do it as well?
We're not entirely convinced that live weather is right, because in real life the weather is very uncooperative sometimes. So what if you want to go and fly when it's horrible rainy weather? You then have to turn live weather off and go back to the normal settings. Also, with live weather, this is like a macro area weather, isn't it? Like fronts and things like this. It doesn't tell you where the QNIM is or where the thermals are, these sorts of things. So we don't think that is really the right way to go for a gliding simulator, because most people want to come and set the weather and have a choice of what kind of day it's going to be, rather than rely on the natural world. We are open to listening. If there's someone has a good reason for this, we of course will listen. But at the moment, we're not convinced about this. I said yesterday to Antoine that we would be able to talk a little bit tonight about future things. And one of the future things which is coming in version 3, Condor 3, is macro area weather. So you'll be able to define some large areas, for example, thunderstorms coming in, rain, and other types of things, and control how they act throughout the soaring day, so that you can have, for example, the last leg gets washed out by thunderstorms, so you have to divert, and this will be all under control, just like you have in Condor 2 at present.
Well, thanks a lot for saying this, Chris. It's a big news, really a huge news for the people following us tonight, and for the gliding lovers, definitely, and for everyone who's training on the simulator. So yeah, Condor version 3 coming up. We don't have a date to announce, but they are working on the project with new weather system that you can adapt. You will have some rain, some convergences as well. So it's going to be really nice, I think, to fly with. Yeah, I cannot wait to see it, honestly. So yeah, thanks a lot for telling us this
Yeah.
big news.
Yes, there will be new types of weather coming in as well. So it's not just thermals of different sizes and strengths. So there will be rain showers, there will be thunderstorms with lightning and thunder, of course, and more control of the variability throughout the day. Variations of thermal distribution, and we're also looking into. We've already started, in fact. Joris has been working this week and last week on improving the ridge accuracy, and there'll be more other changes to the wave, sync between thermals, all these sorts of things. Because for soaring flight, the most important thing is the weather. This is the thing that drives the whole thing, and this is where the difficulty is in flying it. So we are aiming to get the weather to be much better and much more variable. So there's more challenge for the pilot.
Yeah, so it's going to be amazing for us for the next esport competition, I think, and even for the basic of flying and advanced flying on cross-country flights. Chris, do you have any date that we can have for this version?
Sorry,
that you can announce? Or
sorry,
not
we
at all?
can't.
Yeah, I guess you cannot.
It is impossible to talk about dates. We operate in a much more fluid way. If other businesses and companies might sit down at the beginning of the project and write down exactly everything that they're going to do, and then you put times on it and all of this. But we work and we put things into Condor and we look at them and say, is this good? Is it great? Do we have any more good ideas how it could be even better? And so the dates are not. It's not the most important thing for us. The most important thing is to get the Condor improvements exactly right. And I think you will see this, that in the past releases, we don't often have to go back and change something that we've already made. So, yeah, that's the way we work.
Yeah, that's already a big news. So I was not expecting the date, and I was not even expecting this announcement, to be honest. So that's truly amazing, I think, for everyone hearing that. I'm not looking at the chat right now. Maybe there are some reactions. I don't know.
We do have some more questions. We have somebody asking what gear do you maybe use when you fly, or what gear would you recommend for Condor specifically?
Yeah, so virtual reality, right?
Well, personally, I have a Microsoft Force Feedback 2, the old joystick, and I also have a Logitech quadrant controller for flaps and brakes, and those are quite good for me. Personally, I don't use virtual reality. The reason is that I don't fly Condor as much as other people. I'm always working on Condor, making planes, so I don't fly so much. So I can't get myself accustomed to the virtual reality headset because I don't have enough time spent on it, and I get motion sickness from it. But other people get on it with it very well, and I suspect this is going to be the main way that people use Condor in the future. But for me, I don't use that, and that's all the hardware I have. Well, obviously, I have a PC and a giant monitor, but
yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Do you have anything else that you see?
Yes, I see. We have John asking. You mentioned you did some improvements lately on the ridge flying. Does that also include some addition of the 3D wind? So basically, wind flowing around the ridge as well, not just over it, stuff like that.
that's an interesting question. The straightforward answer to that is I don't know. I haven't discussed that with you, so I'm not sure. I can ask and find out.
Well, thank you. Anyway.
I'm sorry. I don't know the answer.
No, we really appreciate you. As Antoine said already, you gave us a lot of stuff to talk about already. Where I see you did a lot of work lately, and I really appreciate it. You made events like this possible with the support for our streams and stuff like that. Can we maybe expect this to expand to get some more features like live cams from the cockpit, some more data from the gliders when we do competitions like that?
You already have this, yeah? You have live cameras of the
Yeah.
cockpit view. And ask for Seb that we provided this extra server output from Spectate to give extra data.
Exactly.
Maybe if there is other data which is not included, then I don't see any problem with being able to provide that as well.
No, yes.
I mean, obviously, we're going to support Spectate long into the future, and so if there are new features required or changes, then we're more than happy to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I will directly mention one thing that I would really like to see, and I don't think it's too big of a implementation to do. Average vario when we look at the pilots flying around.
Well, like 20-second average.
Yeah, something like that. So we can
So
compare.
like that average per circle. That would be possible, yeah. Our connection to the Sailplane Grand Prix is via Sebastien and Antoine, and so if they ask for this, then I'm sure that we can add this in a future version.
We really appreciate all the work you already did, and of course, without you, this would not be possible. So a big
One thing
thank
which
you.
they've already asked for, which we didn't have time to do for this competition, was to have total energy for the Vario readings, because this is at the moment the Vario is just rate of climb, not total energy. We didn't have time to get that in and test it properly. So maybe in a future version that can come in if they request it again.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Mark, you're not aware of it, but we talked a lot with Chris and the guys from Condor actually, and we requested already quite some month ago a panel of implementations that we wanted to have for this virtual event, for the first virtual Sailplane Grand Prix, with a lot of new things. So you can see on the bottom left now some new infos that we didn't have, for example, in March, back when we were doing the FAVP esports series. We can have a lot of infos from the pilots that we can select. So now we only have altitude, speed, variometer, and distance flown. We can just have this for every glider, basically. We can even have a picture of the pilot on the side. So we might have this tomorrow or for the final days. We are trying to improve every day the live and so on. That's big opportunities for us to do that. And yeah, we have direct contact, of course, with the Condor team, so we can try to anticipate the next competitions and try to work on everything to make it even better every time we have something, any competition or anything. So yeah, just thanks a lot to them, actually.
Well, thank you. We're more than happy to do this because it's good for everybody. It's good for us. It's good for the Condor community. One thing which I've been trying to work on the last couple of years on the marketing side is to get more and more real life clubs interested in Condor and using it for training, both for ab initio training and also for cross-country training. And I think that having an event like this, which we are supporting, of course, is a good opportunity to show them that how good Condor has become and how close it is now, or getting very close to real life. And so, yeah, we also note the very, very nice comments which have been made by Brian Spreckley, daytime things. And so we're much encouraged that this will get Condor out into more and more clubs now.
Yeah, so Brian Spreckley will join us tomorrow evening and we'll be commenting as well the virtual Sailplane Grand Prix. I'll be commenting a little bit maybe as well the real races during the day. So Brian will come in the evening as well to do some comments.
Well, that'd be good. I shall watch that.
Yeah, that's for sure. And now, so half of our pilots have reached turn point 2 near Lake of Sainte Croix. That's southeast of Saint-Auban for 40 kilometers approximately. Now they are heading back towards Saint-Auban. They will have to cross this valley and heading then north after Sisteron, so between Sisteron and Gap, to the Valenty outlanding fields.
Well,
now,
don't mention outlanding fields too much. We don't want to give them any ideas. But they do seem to be struggling a bit more than they were at the beginning.
Yeah, they're a bit lower, and we have Josh Meyers, I think, leading the race. But he's low, and yeah, he will have to go through this we call it the Plateau de Puy-Michel in front of us, and that's a higher terrain than where he's flying now. So he's gonna have to climb in the next thermal. Same for Mikko Nurminen that was flying on a more eastern route right now. We have Johnny Haddad from Brazil as well here, quite low, 940 meters. So that's not really nice yet. He has a lot of fields, but he will need to try to find a good thermal next.
Yeah, he's our current leader, and I can tell you his average speed is currently 130 kilometers per hour. So pilots are flying really fast. Subsequently, they are also really low. Oh, perfect. I was just about to ask for this. Look at this spread. Everybody taking completely unique lines, except for the small group there in the east, which I think contains most of our overall leaders. Only exceptions being Juliet and Alpha. Oh, sorry, I spoke too soon.
Yeah, Fox One and
yeah, there's quite a lot of them also elsewhere. But the group there is the only one that's currently having any thermals at all. So I think they saw the pilots in the front struggling just that little bit more, and maybe decided they will stick to the thermal even if it's a bit weaker.
Yeah, exactly. I think they're trying to get the ridges and hoping for a good, nice lift there. So we'll see if it's a good option. I think I would have gone just like Fox One and the others straight ahead. They made a bigger way. Well, they went to the east side to catch something else. So we will see. So far, so good for them, but yeah.
I think it's quite good for them, actually. If we can maybe go to the view from the cockpit of Alpha Mike. I looked at it just a few seconds before, and the clouds in front of him look really well, and I'm pretty sure he will be able to find something in the next minute or so.
Yeah, and the good thing is he has two pilots in front of him. There's Fox One on his left, and I think Sierra Lima maybe. Just phone, I cannot see it from here. Yeah, so he has two pilots, one on the left and one on the right. So he's really well placed to find a good lift here.
It's a quite big and spread out cumulus, so it might not be that straightforward to find a thermal here. And I'm sure he's really happy to have somebody in front of him. And with those two people being just a tad lower, this will also be good for his motivation, I think. And this gives us a really good view of what's happening. As you said, Fox 1 on the left and November X-ray on the right, if I see correctly. How high is the terrain around here? How?
I'm going to take my map again, but yeah, I think it's around 700 meters, maybe 800 meters.
Okay, so they are probably really happy that at this moment they found something.
Yeah, I think it's much better to climb now. This way they will have much more option when they will reach Saint-Auban. Otherwise, they might have to land in Saint-Auban, actually.
Well, better on the airfield than on the field.
Definitely.
Alpha Mike now having looking from his onboards around 1 meter thermal, maybe a bit less at some points. While we see a November X-ray basically juggling around. He hasn't found the center of his thermal yet. He's still struggling quite a lot. More pilots now coming in. We have Sierra Lima Lima now joining them. He was leading at the start, and then he made a mistake just before the first third point. He did really well to catch up with these guys.
Yeah, definitely, and I think that's maybe one of his best flights so far. Sierra Lima Lima, he was often a little bit behind the leaders, and I think he doesn't have a lot of points at the overall results. So maybe it's time for him to get some new points.
Yeah, despite having some outlandings in the first few days and some pilots losing quite a lot by flying riskily, I think overall the pilots who were the best so far were the ones who took some risks and were not afraid to go ahead. Only exception maybe being Ben with Bravo Fox, who has really this style of flying that doesn't where he doesn't risk a lot. But talking about risks, Victor One, that he's in really serious troubles right now.
Oh yeah, we're gonna switch to someone else, I think, because yeah, not what we want to see. Probably get penalized for this, but he's quite experienced. Johnny from Brazil, he has more than 11,000 flight hours. He's a flight instructor as well. So we are back with some leaders. Tim Kuipers, a really good pilot, one of the best in Condor, but he couldn't join us on some races, so he didn't have a lot of points actually. So that's quite disappointing for him, I think.
Going to the 2D map now. The group that we saw circling before, I think Ben was in there, also Donna Pierre. They have now decided it's time to move on, and they have almost 1,000 meters altitude advantage to the guys that were pushing in front. That cumulus that we were looking at from Alpha Mike's first-person view did not give them as much as the thermal they expected, and I also think that Victor One has now outlined it and is maybe our first pilot to not finish today. Can you confirm that, Antoine?
Yeah, I think so. 737 meters. I said it was around 700, 800 meters. So he has probably outlanded, as we've seen that on the video some minutes ago. Is Chris still there with us now? No, maybe not. But what we can do, guys, he can come back anytime. So you can still continue to ask your questions. And maybe just before the end of the race, he will follow that with us. And you'll be able to still answer some questions, and he will answer those questions at the end of the race.
Yeah, that sounds like an excellent plan. I have a question. Maybe you can answer, Antoine. Basically, will all the flight tracks, so FTR files, be published at some point so people can check the flights of the competitors?
Well, no, because they are only available as AGC files. So that's the real files that we use in the real world, and that the pilots cannot modify, more or less. Otherwise, we can see that they are modified. So that's why it needs to be an IGC one and not an FTR. So yeah, we just have the IGC files. So you can download them, I think, on Soaring Spot, those files, so you can replay all the races, but you're not going to have the FTR if that's the one that you are looking for, to make the replay on Condor and to fly with the ghost, as we say on Condor. So yeah, just IGC flights.
I'm sure people will be happy to look at those as well if they want to go into some deeper analysis of what happened here. Is Alpha Mike again the one pushing in front alone?
Yeah.
He seemed to be.
Yeah, but I think maybe the clouds are not that good, as announced during the briefing. Some weak thermals, and they are trying to catch the best ones, so they need to descend a little bit lower every time to take a good lift. So yeah, they are taking some risk. You see, he's been through one of the biggest clouds here, and he didn't find anything good yet.
He is approaching the Saint-Auban area right now, so if this one doesn't go well, he will soon see the airfield up close, and let's say he'll see the airfield up close way sooner than he expected today. He does have some alternate options to the left, which are not that optimal for his flight path. The ones we can see on the screen right now, but the cumulus are not working as well as they were half an hour ago.
Yeah, I think you're right, Mark. So maybe we'll see in 20 minutes, but in Condor there is more or less a way that the weather is working now. I think cumuluses are regenerating every 20 minutes, and maybe we are in the lowest part of the wave right now, and need to reach out another high in a few minutes. So we will see really what happens. Yeah.
No, unfortunately, just answering the debate before that we had about the different files. As far as I know, you cannot do ghosting in Condor 2 with an AGC file, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think they're right.
You mentioned these intervals of weather coming and going, and I would like to touch on what Chris told us a few minutes ago. Thunderstorms, new weather elements. This is something that I really want to see on a task like this, on a competition day.
Yeah, definitely. That's the day to do it, actually, because today it was a bit like this as well. And remember yesterday when Thilo was here with us, commenting the race and answering some questions. He said, yeah, during the race it was really tough in the Ubai Valley near Barcelonette, and we were all of us stuck at 1,400 meters and so on. We had to, some of them had to jump some water and so on, and then they had some convergence lines, so they could fly really fast, and then it was really bad again. So just imagine if we can choose the weather depending on the area. That would be absolutely amazing for us for those races. So yeah, it's really exciting news that we've had tonight with Chris. So yeah, I just want to see the footage now of this working in the game.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, it would be quite nice to put in an overcast or a small thunderstorm without telling any of the pilots when it's coming and where.
Yeah, and I've just had the confirmation of the outlanding of Johnny Haddad from Brazil right now.
Yeah, that is unfortunate. I'm sure he still was able to find some good outlanding field. I would like to maybe check what Tango Kilo Mike is doing. He decided for a really big deviation. He's going towards the east. Does he expect something from this reach? There is a shadow there, so probably cumulus somewhere above that we cannot see from this angle. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
It looks really nicely formed. It's not really a risk. It's more of a emergency strategy, I would say. He is forced to do that anyway. With this more hilly terrain, basically not enabling pilots to continue straight as they were used to.
Yeah, definitely, and I think he's trying to find a good lift here because on Condor right now you have the best lift, which are on the ridges, but there's a reduce a light wind today, so ridges are not really nice to take. So maybe he will have a slightly better lift, but yeah, I think it's better to go straight to the point with this kind of weather, this type of weather. It's more or less flatland everywhere for this task, so just go straight to the line. And as you can see, we have Kresimir Kreso Rastovek from Croatia flying right now on GS3, and Ben Fest and Donna Pierluigi are ahead, I think, leading the race.
It's nice to see Krisha on the screen. He hasn't been that visible throughout this competition, but today he's flying, I think, better than in the last few days. As we have Arne now finally finding a thermal. It's around 1.4 meters, judging by what his onboard instrument is saying. And honestly, currently, I'm not even sure who is in a virtual lead. I think Arne is the pilot who is most in front, but we do have some guys that are a bit higher. Maybe a 2D view will give us a bit better representation on what's happening at the moment. As we see, we have this really, really big spread all over our task area. Bravo Fox is really low, our overall leader, and he's there alone with Donna PS. So our leaders now taking the charge, going ahead, while we do have, I think, a group of pilots there with Yankee Zulu Romeo who have a thermal and are quite a bit higher, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I think that's where Arne Martin tried to find something that he didn't find at the end. So maybe at the end of the cumulus, and something better was creating behind him. And now he's the only one near Corne de Lure, which is the mountain west of Saint-Auban. So yeah, he's gonna have to be able to climb. Now he's at 1,300 meters, Arne Martin Gutler from Norway. So hopefully he can make it and continue his way towards the point. It's gonna be really straightforward for him right now.
Yeah, I think. Oh, perfect. I was just about to ask for this view. Ben now, he is alone in the front. I am not used to seeing him taking risks like that. He does not need to push, especially not at this phase of the flight.
Yeah, but I think he needs to take some more points today. He's leading the race, but just by 1 point. Vitold flies very, very well, and he's just behind him now. So he's in danger. His leading place is in danger, and he really missed the race yesterday. He finished just in the points, but he lost his advantage over the other pilots.
Could we maybe look at of Sebastian's flight from today to see how pilots are coping up so far? Now we see a bit more similar lines than we did in the first leg. So most of our pilots are kind of following this same route from the turn point 2 onwards.
That's more or less good right now. I think they're following quite the same route. And then for turn point 3, it's more or less what Arne Martin is doing now. So close to Corne de Lure, I think, and then reaching north. But we have some pilots who went to the east of Sebastian's flight that we can see now. Sebastian's track, yeah.
Speaking about Arne, if we go on board with him, we'll see he now his thermal really developed into a really, really strong one. Right now, as I look at it, values around 2.1 meters. They were also around 2.5 just 30 seconds ago. I'm not sure if anybody else has such a strong thermal at the moment.
Yeah, I think at the end of the beginning of the race, he had some good lift, Arne Martin. So he was, I think, quite lucky, and everyone is more or less struggling right now. But we're keeping a good average speed, probably around 110, 120 kph right now. So it's as expected for us.
Yes, with everybody now finding some thermals, it might have been that interval that you talked about that our pilots got caught in 10 minutes ago, with Victor one unfortunately being forced to outland. As right now we see more circling going on all over the task area, and with nobody in such serious troubles as they were just a while ago.
Yeah, it's much better now than they passed Saint-Auban. It looks like the weather has improved now. It's just a beam, a Sisteron turn point that you saw on the right. It's a Sisteron Citadel, and it's gonna be, I think, turn point 6 for the day. So one of the last turn point to reach before getting back to Saint-Auban. So now he's flying to the west, surprisingly, and not to the north. He's making a big step on the left to try to find a good thermal. And he has something now.
Yeah, maybe a 2D view will give us a bit more overview on what's going on. We are really not used to this kind of spread. Usually we had 2, maybe 3 groups, and with some people following behind. But right now, if you look at it, you have 3, 5, at least 5 different paths happening.
Yeah, and that's very interesting. I think it was not the same today, as they were flying much closer, the real pilots. Yeah, it's interesting. We can see JJJ catching up again at 1,750 meters now. So that's not too bad. And we have 269, the French pilot, a little bit struggling at 1,300 meters. Is near Gache, which is the mountain, the ridge that is southeast of Sisteron. Sisteron airfield, of course.
Yeah, our pilots now being a bit more familiar with this area. They have flew here basically every day, mostly in final glide. Today they will fly around this area quite a lot. So they're going to go first north, then come south practically in the same route, and then they have another up and down part of the task that they will have to navigate. So this area will be really familiarized to them at the end of the day.
Yeah, and as you said, it's going to be more or less way out and back for the pilots now. So they just need to go to this turn point that we have in front of us with Donapierre leading the race. And the first guys who will reach that turn point when they will make the U-turn to get back to Sisteron, they will see all the other gliders trying to reach the turn point. So maybe they will have an opportunity to use them to catch the best thermals.
We had so many different leaders today. I think Donapierre is like the 6th one, and we are not even halfway through the task.
Yeah, exactly. Donapierre is doing a good job today.
And as much as I think he will finish among the best today, he's definitely not the last different person to be leading today. It's just a question who will be there at the end.
Yeah, we just focus on the race and on the arrivals. Actually, that's the most important for the pilots. They just need to catch as much point as they can.
Just to remind you, Chris from Condor team will be coming back towards the end of this stream. So if there is something else you want to know, post it down in the comments on whichever platform you are following our stream at, and we will forward this to him, and he will give you his opinion or answer if he can.
Yeah, and you must know that I'm being disturbed now by the team commenting the races during the day. So I have Oden Terze playing the clown in front of me. We have Sébastien as well here, but watching the race with us. Is quite funny atmosphere here in Saint-Auban.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on in the gliding community these few days, and for all of you who enjoy watching, you can have almost the full day of gliding streams this week, starting around noon, if I'm correct, every day with the Sailplane Grand Prix. And you can have a quick snack, and you can already join us for the virtual one in the evening. So a lot of stuff coming up, and with final days coming this weekend, I'm sure we will see some exciting action in the real and in the virtual world.
Yeah, exactly, Mark. So yeah, just to be right about the hours. So it's 10 o'clock in the morning, French time, for the briefing, and then there is the live starting at 1:30 p.m. In Saint-Auban. So you have first some interviews on the grid, and then you can follow the live on the FAVP channels in French or the FAR HGP channel. So on this channel for approximately 3 hours. Then it stops once the pilot lands. There are some more interviews, live interviews, and then we have the podium at 6:30 p.m. still French local time, and then 1 hour and a half later we start with the virtual races, and actually even 1 hour later, so at 7:30 the live stream starts, announcing that we have the briefing 15 minutes later, and then the race.
Yeah, a lot of stuff going on. And don't forget, if you want to watch this virtual Sailplane Grand Prix stream, it's also available in French. And we will also bring you some interviews after the finish. Antoine, I will be gone for a minute, so I hope you can cover for me.
Yeah, that's for sure. I was talking as well, but with the mic muted, of course. So yeah, you can go for sure, Mark. We'll see you in a few moments. So we have Donna Pierluigi really leading the race now. He's flying at 1,700 meters, really close to turn point 3 even, sorry. And Ben Fest is now trying to catch him up, 2,150 meters. So quite a good job from both pilots now. Everyone is just a little bit behind, a few kilometers behind, but they have made a small gap between them and the other pilots. Yeah, they are followed by Witold the Rozak, the Polish pilot. Is the second place overall, and Alil Koroglu as well is doing a good job here. One of his best races so far. So I hope for him that he can catch them up, or at least keep that pace. Yeah, maybe Tim, you can go for the live camera, so I can say hi to everyone again, and we can try to experiment some live videos that's like they're doing the real Sailplane Grand Prix as well, during the comments before Mark is joining us again. So we have Josh Meyers, the US pilot here. So he's the first pilot overall on the GS3 so far, on the 5th position, I think. And we have Ben Fest just catching Donna Pierluigi back now on the top right of our screen.
I'm back. I'm sorry for that. Yeah, we see our leaders. We see this fight for the lead between Ben, Witold, and Donald Pierre. I think happening again. They formed the group, if I see correctly, on the right side of our screens.
Yeah, exactly. So they are really ahead of everyone. There is Witold Rozak, sorry, the Polish man just behind them, with the Turkish man Ali Koroglu as well. Fox One behind, but quite behind them so far. And we have, I think, some average speed to give you in a few seconds. So that's Donna Pierre Luigi leading the race, and he's leading with 180 and 15 kph so far. That's gonna be better at turn point 3. Then it's followed by Bentfest with 113 kph, Vitold with 112. Same for Halil Koroglu, Josh Meyers 108. Same for Kreso Rastovek, the Croatian man. Same for Arne Martin Guttler and for Nobuhiro Okada. Just behind Joran Jenen, Gorka Eldoyen and Santiago Lopez, sorry, 106 kph. So that's quite good for everyone. The lowest speed is for Francois Paul from the South Africa with 99 kph. Back to the live now.
Yeah, and we have somebody flying quite low. I didn't see who was that. I think Tango Sierra. Yeah, we are back with him. He's really struggling around that ridge. Is that the next turn point in front of him, or is he further back?
Yeah, he's
I
a
think
bit
that's our
struggling.
that is our third turn point, correct?
Yeah, no, that's Cisteron, so that's the 6th one. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He's low and quite behind. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he will be able to find, as we can see you right now as well.
Yeah, I'm here.
Thanks, Timothée, for advising me that I'm catching up on the stream now.
Yeah, so we're live from Saint-Auban now. I just arrived today to follow the races and be with the team and hopefully make some comments on the races tomorrow as well. Yeah, so really good atmosphere. Maybe no flight tomorrow. So if the guys are not flying in the real race, we will still fly in the virtual race, and we will do a very nice bombastic weather with great speeds, great average speeds, maybe something going up to 200 kph. We want something fun, fast, enjoyable for the people watching, and something that is out of the real world. So something that we can do in the virtual race. So yeah, we'll try to prepare that in case they are not flying, so we can have a live and follow a race tomorrow as well. So I think that was as well a point why we launched those esports event at the FAI. It's to still have something to show in case there is nothing, because we are really dependent on the weather conditions. In Formula One, they can still race when it's raining. Well, not in Belgium 2 weeks ago, and that was the first time in 15 or 20 years even. And no, I think it was even back in 1986. The last time they couldn't race in Belgium as well, in Spa-Francorchamps. But yeah, it's something really difficult for us. We cannot fly when it's raining. We often cannot fly. So we have the virtual races to cope that problem and to still make something enjoyable and to explain our sport and to support this sport and develop it worldwide.
Yeah, and it's as you said, it's really nice that we have the option to adjust the weather, and if we have a bombastic test tomorrow, bombastic weather, it's something that should not be missed, and I encourage you to tune in tomorrow. I think even if I'm not be able to comment with you, I will make sure to have a phone with me and follow what's happening. It's really going to be something special. Have you maybe noticed who was the first person over our third turn point?
Oh, I didn't precisely, but I think it's Donapierre and Benfest, the first two pilots to reach the turn points. They were really ahead of everyone, followed by Vitold Rozak and Halil Koroglu. So probably the fourth pilot who reached that point first. Then it's probably Kreso Rastovek from Croatia, followed by Joshua Meyers. That's probably the top 6 right now.
So pilots will now have a 33-kilometer leg in front of them that will bring us basically back to Saint-Auban, or really close to it. And Where they are right now is the furthest north that they will be flying today. Today's task has a bit more turn points than we are used to, and as we said, they will be staying around the Saint-Aubin area. So we can expect a lot of crossing over of different lines, and pilots flying in one direction will be able to take benefit of the thermals that pilots flying towards them might have found up ahead.
Yeah, so now the pilots are crossing each other. So we can see Benfest and Donapierre. So Benfest leading the race now. We have Witold Rozak from Poland second. Then 269 on the third place, followed by, and it's even Halil Koroglu maybe leading the race now, the Turkish man. And he's flying at 1,572 meters. So a little bit below Benfest at the moment. And JJJ trying to catch up the leading group with Fox One.
Yeah, we can see Alpha Mike being quite far back behind now. I think he still hasn't into the third turn point. No, I'm sorry. He's taking a different route. He's flying way more easterly than everybody else. That might be an interesting flight to follow. All the other pilots who were fast at that turn point went straight back, while he is now returning to where he went up north, and this alternate route might be interesting to follow. On his live stream, I can see he does have some Cumulus now in front of him, and he'll be looking forward to them for sure. We can see him now in the background there on the left while we follow Santiago Lopez, flying parallel with him. A really good flight from Santiago today. He hasn't been there in front in the last few days. We saw him today really pushing towards the first turn point. He made a small mistake, but then did a really good job of catching up. And it's going to be exciting to see what more does he have in store for the rest of today's task.
Yeah, definitely. And we're back with the Japanese pilot, Mr. Okada, right now. So yeah, we always say a small word about him every race because in Japan today, well, at this exact moment, it's probably 3 a.m. or 3:45 a.m. So it's just he should sleep at that time, and he's awake to just play with us and do the race. So we really appreciate it. Honestly, it's amazing from him to do that.
Yeah, great commitment, and this also makes this competition a truly worldwide event. I think only big what I think I'm missing is maybe somebody from Australia joining us next time. I think that would be a bit challenging because of the time difference again, but we really managed to gather pilots from all over the world, and that really makes it exciting for everybody.
Yeah. Well, the basically we were supposed to have Matthew Scudder with us. He was registered in the competition as the Oceanian pilot, and he couldn't join. So we had a reserve pilot from Oceania, from Australia as well, but he couldn't join either. And people didn't want to wake up at 3 a.m. just like Nobuo Okada, so it was too difficult to have someone. We tried really to have someone from that part of the world, but they declined very politely, and they apologized honestly. So Matthew offered to do some race commentaries with us, and he has done that for 2 or 3 races actually. So that's really nice from him because he could have just not be able to join and have stayed home or anything, and he tried really to help us to develop the races. So it was really nice from him. Really appreciated it, and yeah. So he has been replaced, Matthew, by the South African pilot because we didn't have any pilot from Africa. So that's François Paul, who was born in Cape Town, I think. So yeah. We still have one more continent to cover.
And I'm sure we will do this in the next edition with new qualifying formats in plan for next Sailplane Grand Prix final. virtual Sailplane Grand Prix final, and of course we will have the best of the best flying with us yet again. As we see our leading group now finding quite a decent thermal, roughly halfway to the next turn point, with one pilot separating, and that is, if I see correctly, our Turkish pilot who is in it solo and is pushing up front in the lead right now. I hope it doesn't come back and cost him that he missed this thermal.
Yeah, that's interesting to see, and maybe he will catch something else that is even better. But yeah, we have the leaders now in a gaggle, just above Sisteron. Yeah, interesting to see. Now, next point for today is Montfort. So Montfort is just next to Saint-Auban airfield, the turn point number 4. That's a very small leg that we have 33 kilometers between Valenty, the north of Sisteron, and Montfort, just next to Saint-Auban. Then it will be 26 kilometers from Montfort to Saint-Just. Saint-Just is the entry of the ridge that we call La Serre de Mondonnier, and it's just a very good ridge aligned northwest, southeast, that works really well near Puy-Moisson. So we're gonna go in the Puy-Moisson area, and then back to Sisteron again. So the pilots are gonna cross each other again one more time, and then time for Sisteron, reporting point 200 and the finish line.
As we go back to Khalil, our leading pilot, he's pushing up in front. Can we maybe look from a bit below to see if he has some cumuluses in front of him? Perfect, thank you. That does not look too good.
No, yeah, you're right. So Montfort is the turn point on the right. Yeah, exactly. Turn point 4, just in front of you. In front of the Turkish pilot right now is Montfort. So that's really just next to Saint-Auban airfield. And then they will have, well, he will have at least to go to the southeast. So he will have to try to find something near Lemay, Plateau de Puy-Michel, so just southeast of Saint-Auban. So yeah, it doesn't look very easy for the next few minutes for the pilots.
Are we maybe experiencing again this 20-minute interval that we talked about before?
Yes, I think that's the case. Honestly, it looks like it's the same pattern. Yeah, same pattern.
Yeah. If we maybe go a bit further back, Alpha Mike has now joined the thermal that Ben and other leaders were circling a bit before. He has around 2-meter thermal, which is quite strong for these conditions, and it's really nice to see how many gliders are in front of him. And what I can see is that they are not all circling exactly the same. We have, I think, Japanese pilot now just crossing his path. So what this indicates to me is that pilots are not that confident into where the center of the terminal actually is.
Yeah, exactly. And I think Arne Martin is in quite a good lift now as well. He's wondering, I think at that exact moment, he's wondering if he's at the right spot to climb or if he should go just below the other pilots. But he believes that this 1.7, 1.8 meter per second climb is quite good, and I think he's right. And you can see he's always at the edge of stalling. You can see the Ventus tree really shaking a little bit sometimes when he is thermaling. And yeah, he has a 4-speed back joystick to check when he's gonna stall or not. And with the virtual reality glasses that he has, he can really catch the atmosphere and feel the glider properly.
Yeah, he is a bit below the group. I would say roughly 500 meters lower. Are we maybe seeing at this moment the group of our leaders, so Vitold and Ben, starting to look at each other, none of them being ready to rush forward?
Yeah, I think they're trying to take their time. They know that the weather is not so good now, so average speed are gonna decrease, and they can see that the pilots in front of them struggle to climb. So they're trying to be very conservative and to take the 1.5 meter per second instead of rushing to find a 2 meters that doesn't exist. So now they are really taking their time. They show their patience, so that's good to see as well, because we often race and fly very fast on Condor.
Up in front, if we can maybe move our camera, I think our Turkish pilot has indeed found a thermal now. It would be interesting to see how strong it is. That looks okay.
Yeah, that looks pretty good so far. That looks good for him. He's flown 165 kilometers out of 254, so that's really good. Only 90 kilometers left for the pilots now. That can go
Yeah.
quite fast. That's 2 or 3 thermals.
Yeah, I'm looking at the Vario numbers. Of course, we talked about this before. This is uncompensated Vario, if I remember correctly.
Not that much. This one is not. It's the total value, and we are looking for the compensated one actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think in the future expect there to also see some more averaged out numbers, which will be more representative. But judging by this thermal seemed to be stronger than the one Ben and the others are having at the back.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. Can we have the 2D view to see what's going on now, please? Yeah, thanks. So Echo Uniform Sierra that we've just witnessed, Sierra Lima Lima as well behind, and I think the leaders are trying to fly a little bit higher with Triple J at 2,300 meters. Fox One is flying high as well, and Donna Pierluigi 2,300 meters as well, so that's quite good.
Yeah, but at this point, I think Khalil our Turkish pilot is clearly in the lead, and I think the others have seen his thermal. They've seen it is possible to get some good lifts also up in front, and they will be joining him shortly. And I think they will join him roughly at the same altitude, or well, judging by these pictures, a bit below him. So it seemed a bit risky at first when he flew up ahead on his own, but right now it really showed up to be a good move.
So we're back with Benfest and Donna Pierluigi, the leaders now, flying really high. And yeah, the Turkish man on a really good thermal now. He's even higher than them. So he's probably the leader of the race so far. We're going to Montfort, 3.4, just west of Saint-Auban, so just in front of us now.
Yeah, we mentioned many times during this stream, but Khalil, he's not a glider pilot yet, if I'm correct. And with many of our pilots here having a lot of real life experience, also some professional aviation experience, as well as a ton of racing experience, it is really nice to see somebody who comes from a completely different background. He comes exclusively from a simulator background, being up ahead in the lead.
Yeah, he just started gliding and flying on Condor a year ago. He's made some races online, and then he started to do competitions online. And he's done FAVP Sport Series already once. He was quite good. There are not a lot of Turkish pilots flying, so it's good to see new pilots joining the movement. And yeah, he has even translated the Condor Club website in Turkish to allow his friends to be able to read that and to try to join gliding as well. So yeah, he has a really good behavior, to be honest. And I hope that he's gonna get some points today and be well ranked at the end of the competition.
Yeah, he really deserves them, and he has a really good chance to also be our daily winner today. I've been trying to speculate a bit who might be up ahead after this day, but it's way too early to say now. But we do see that our favorites are still the ones holding all the cards and staying up in front, not doing many mistakes. It is clear why they are on top of the result sheet. Maybe we can go to the 2D view to see how this is all unfolding on a bigger scale. So we have Khalil up in front with Fox 1 following him. A smaller group of pilots then led by Ben is coming from a bit more easterly direction, and pilots who are the highest right now is actually the group around Alpha Mike, who stayed there in that thermal. We watched him before, thermaling around 1.2, 1.5 meters per second, while pilots in front were actually thermaling more. So he stayed in that thermal. He's playing it a bit safe again. We saw this from him yesterday, I think, when he was always 300-400 meters higher than everybody else. It worked out well for him, but today I do not think that he's pushing enough.
Yeah, so Josh Meyers from the US now, turning turn point 4, Montfort, so just above Saint-Auban. We can probably have a nice view of Saint-Auban right now. And the Polish man is here as well. Yeah, thanks a lot, Tim. That's Saint-Auban airfield. You can see that the airfield is divided in two parts. You have the whiskey part and eco part, so that's whiskey for west. So with the runway that you see just on the right wing of Vitold, and the eco part with the two runways that you see on the right. So just in front of Vitold right now.
Is this, are there two air clubs operating from there?
No, well, so that's in Saint-Auban, you have the National Gliding Center. So you have basically on the west side, the French team training there. And on the east side, it's for more basic lessons or advanced lessons for pilots who want to pay to learn how to fly in the Alps and so on, or often for foreign pilots as well coming to learn with very good instructors here. So that's more or less the spot in Saint-Auban, yeah, that everyone loves. And you have more than 300 days of sun per year here. And even when it's not sunny, you can fly. There are often waves, or you still have some ridges to fly on. So that's quite nice to fly.
Yeah, a really great invitation of sorts for the Saint-Auban and Saint-Auban area. I haven't been there myself, but I think we all know a person who has been there, and I don't think anybody comes back without a smile on their face, because weather there for flying is truly amazing, and that also makes it an ideal location for our SGP finals this year.
Yeah, so we are back with Ali Koroglu, the Turkish man, now leading the race in front, going to Saint-Gurs. So he needs to go over those flatlands areas now. Yeah, thanks a lot, team. So that's this turn point in front of us, and the small valley that you have in just below the Turkish man is La Vallée de Las, we call it. So that's in English that's weird, but in French it's not the same. Indeed, and we have everyone here laughing around in Saint-Auban, of course. Yeah. You can write it ASSE. I hope the guys at the bar are listening as well and are having a good laugh. But yeah, that's geographical point of view. Indeed, we're back with Josh Meyers from the US now in the GS3. So that's 2 GS3 leading the race so far to turn point 5 now, Saint-Gers.
I do hear you have a really good atmosphere going on there in Saint-Auban. I wish I was there. You really seem to have a lot of fun. Also, I presume the atmosphere in the bar is at the peak right now.
Yeah, tomorrow is going to be a little bit more professional with Brian commenting the race. So I think they're going to be a little bit more quiet behind me during the comments of the race. Yeah, but really, really good fun and really nice to be here. I will share you some videos maybe tomorrow as well during the briefing or after. And yeah, don't forget at the end of each race, we watch the highlights of the real Grand Prix. So just wait after the arrivals and the interviews, and you will be able to see what has happened in Saint-Auban today and the win of Sebastian Cower.
Yeah, lots of exciting racing going on in real life and in virtual world, where we now see our leading group getting to the fifth turn point. This, if I counted correctly, 6 guys have now separated from the rest, and I think it's fair to say we're gonna see our winner coming from this group today. Can we maybe go to the 2D view for a second? Thank you. We were also a big thank to the our streaming director for clearing up some of the old paths, so we can see now much clearer what's going on. Khalil still in the lead. He is, although quite low at 1,400 meters, followed closely by Fox One, Ben Witold, and the rest of our leading pack. Behind them, Eco Uniform Sierra is leading the chasers, who are now a few minutes behind and will really have to pull something special to catch up.
Yeah, thanks, Mark. And now we're back with Chris from the Condor team. Good evening again, Chris.
Good evening.
Yeah, well, we have a few more questions. The first one that we had 2 days ago was about the possibility of adding paragliding in Condor. Do you think that would be a good idea? Basically, the idea behind for the guy asking the question was that adding paragliders would bring a huge community into the game. I'm not sure that I would like to see that, but I don't know. It's an idea that someone has.
Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not sure you know this, but Urosh is a paraglider pilot as well as a sailplane pilot. And so, yeah, there has been a hope to do it at some point. However, the flight characteristics and the physics research required to do paragliding is completely different from fixed wing gliders, and it's a lot of work. And so, given that our priority is improving the weather and the quality of the simulation for ordinary sailplanes, it keeps getting pushed off into the future. And so we have not even discussed whether we're going to start doing it yet. It's an obvious thing to think that we would do at some point, but we have to do things as well as, as perfectly as we can. So it's not going to happen soon. I can't really say any more than that. It's not on the list to do, definitely, at the moment, but I wouldn't say it's impossible at some point in the future, but not now.
Okay. Well, thanks a lot, Chris. Really.
Well, that's good for you, because on your ridges around Saint-Aubin, you won't be finding lots of paragliders and hang gliders in Condor in the way.
Yeah, exactly. We want to stay like this. It works well so far, so it's good.
Well, I suppose you could actually have a server setting so that paragliders weren't allowed for some of your races if you wanted. But yeah, I think it would be a great thing to do, but not just now.
I have another question coming in. Will we see some AI pilots in Condor in the future? So maybe if you are alone, you can still make a competition with a computer.
I don't think so. Our solution to this has been to let you fly against other people's flight tracks or your own, so you can fly against ghosts. My understanding is that before version 1 was put in, Before version 1 was released, there were some AI gliders, but it was very hard to make them poor enough so they didn't beat the regular pilots all the time. I don't think that we'll be having AI pilots at all. It's definitely not been discussed in any way. I don't see that happening. And although we do get these requests, maybe one every 2 years for this, something like this, it's not a big important thing, really.
Yeah, well, that was an interesting question, to be honest. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, maybe that's a question to be raised in 3 or 4 years if we have regular competitions, and that we can try to improve the AI working. Maybe some pilots will want to train with races with only 20 pilots on SGP races like this, with really short races of less than 2 hours and 30 minutes. So just like they do more or less in Formula One, actually, you can race against AI to train and then race online to try to beat the others. But we don't have, I think, enough competitions yet to be able to do that. It's not going to improve anything, I think, right now to have an AI like this.
No, I mean, as I see it, it's quite a complex thing to do, because the AI pilots is actually running inside the code of Condor. So in theory, it should be able to easily find which is the best thermal and the closest that you can get to. So you could make it really perfect.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't think that's what people would like, because I think you would almost always be beaten by the AI pilot.
Yeah, or you can maybe choose the difficulty of the AI. So it will be more or less difficult depending on what you want and on your level. But yeah, I think it's a lot of work, a lot of coding and so on, and probably not very easy to do.
Yes, I think it is, and I don't think it brings any benefits, really, much benefit to the regular Condor pilot. I'm sure he'd much rather have more interesting weather and better wave soaring, more accurate ridge soaring, these things, more planes, rather than AI pilots. Like all products and simulators and things, you have to prioritize what the what is most important, and we think we have it right, but it may well be that some other feature is more important that we haven't even dreamed of yet.
Yeah, well, thanks a lot. I have another question coming up. So at the real SGP, we have, I think, 4 different types of glider, of maybe 5, ASG29, GS1, GS3, Ventus 3, and the AS33. So 4 of them in Condor already. Do you plan? I don't know if it's been released or not, and if there are rumors or not on this. But is the AS33 going to be in Condor in the future?
Yes.
Did you already announce it?
No, we've not announced it. We have a partly completed model already.
Okay.
But there are some issues of getting hold of quality information at the moment. The difficulty when bringing a completely new glider into Condor is to be sure that you have the performance right.
Yeah.
Because it's very, you have to, the way that Urash does this is, firstly, he uses his experience and looks at what the technical characteristics of the glider are, the wing loading, the aspect ratio, these types of things, the weights, and then what the manufacturer says about any interesting techniques like surface blowing and things like this have been used in the glider. Looks at their published polar, if it's available, right, which is not always available for a new glider. And then using his experience, he puts this all together. And then hopefully there are some competition results and some IGC files we can look at where we can compare it with other gliders which we already have to get the flight characteristics correct. So for a very new plane like the AS33, it's almost impossible to bring it into Condor straight away. We have to wait a bit. I mean, it's great that it's in this SGP this time, because that's good. That's going to give us some fantastic data, assuming all of the IGCs will be available for us. But on the other side, there's getting the modelling correct. And normally we work from 3D illustrations and photographs. But more recently, we're trying to switch to doing 3D scanning of planes, which is pretty easy now, because if you have an iPhone 12 Pro, it's got a LiDAR scanner, so you can just go and scan the cockpit and things like this. And I've done this done some testing with this, and it looks like it'll be a very good way to get the cockpits exactly the right dimensions.
Oh yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I was like,
I mean,
well, I mean, Santoban, I can take some pictures for you, but yeah, with the lidar things and yeah.
Yeah, what the LiDAR does is it does not give you a great model which you can just say, oh, well, I'll just copy and paste that into Blender and use the thing, because it generates far too much data. We have to cut back on the data so that there's not too much for the code to handle, because it can't move the vertices around and do all the rendering if there's too much data. And so what I'm using is using the LiDAR model to generate
a 3D model,
to check a handmade model, yeah.
Okay.
And to get the dimensions correct. But nevertheless, it's still a great way of doing it. The only disadvantage is that I haven't managed to get anywhere near an AS33 yet with my iPhone to do this scanning. And as far as I can tell, there isn't anybody close to an AS33 who could do it for me. If any of
I
your
can try
viewers,
to find someone tomorrow.
if you have somebody, I've asked Sep about this, and
I'll check.
I don't think anybody has this, but I can tell them what software they need to use to scan this so that I can import it. That would be very, very handy. The other thing I should say now, sorry, do you need to go back to the race?
No, we can keep going.
Okay. Okay. Well, interrupt me, and I can wait.
No worries.
The other thing, I've forgotten what I was going to say. Oh yes. Because I've announced to you over this channel tonight that we're working on version 3. That means that that's what we're working on now. Only working on version 3 for
Yeah.
the future. Okay. Which means that there are no more. We won't be bringing any more planes out until version 3 is released, because there are improvements to the existing planes which we are working on. All of the ones which we made so far, which are whatever is 40 something planes, yeah? We don't have time to bring new planes out for version 2. So any new planes, including S33, would be version 3.
Yeah, I think you're right to do it, because there are quite a lot of planes so far, and I think the public and the pilots are able to choose between a lot of them in each class. So
yes, we think so. I mean, it's important for us to always keep up with the latest planes. So AS33 and we'll also be very interested in the JS4, which we think is going to be a very important glider for standard class.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's going to be leading the class for quite some time if there is no other customer making another standard glider. I mean, like Champion, if they don't make another Discus, then GS4 is going to be much better than Discus 2.
Yes, I mean the analytical methods that Yonka and the others use now to calculate the performance of the gliders seem to be very, very accurate now. In fact, the JS3 had an amazing performance where they from Yonka just calculated, and when Ideflug tested it, it turned out to be even better than that. It's very impressive what they can do now.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was a big change in the gliding world when they arrived on the market. They released amazing gliders, and then the historic German gliders had to try to find something else and to build new gliders, basically. So yeah.
I have a question about. You obviously bring in every new plane that gets developed, but what is your process for choosing older planes? Like, for example, we see a lot of planes in like club class which are 20, 30 years old, but luckily we are able to fly them in Condor. How do you decide which one gets done first?
It's not a very, very clever analytical process. Firstly, there are a core of modelers who make planes, and it's quite a small core. Although it's mostly myself and Week Schoenmaker, and we choose what we would like to make, and then outside of that, people come to us and say, "I would like to make this plane. I would like to make that plane," and so we say, "Okay," and we'll help them teach them how to do it and help them along the way. And so when that plane comes in, that's how that gets chosen. It gets chosen by the guy who makes it. And so, for example, there's a plane missing from club class at the moment. The standard Jantar is missing, and that one is actually waiting on my computer for me to have time to import it. And I think there's a few other things to change, and that was made by a guy in Argentina.
Yeah, well, if you need some advice on a Junta or standard tree, you can still ask me. I've done quite some competitions with it, and it's a lot of fun to do. Yeah, I can't wait to see it in the game now.
Well, I mean, it'll be very good. We can have you test it before we release it. But this will be some time ahead, because we have to wade through all of these planes, spending
for sure.
2 days on each of them to improve them, ready for version 3. So yeah.
Yeah. So well, just now.
So that won't be one of the next planes.
Great.
There are a number of others that are waiting that I'm holding for this, and some motor glide.
Yeah, motor gliders as well. Well, the pilots just passed 3.6 Sisteron Citadel, and now there are only 17 kilometers left. And I think the Turkish pilot is good right now on his way to Sisteron. We have JJJ leading the race, the Belgian man. Is that correct? Yes, it is correct. And then Benfest and then Pierluigi. So he's made an absolutely amazing flight now, Jeroen Jennen from Belgium, because he was stuck a little bit behind, struggling to get back in the front. So yeah.
Yeah, with all this new information that we were getting, we kind of almost forgot we have a race in our hand. So Juliet will seem to be the first one, and we have our top contenders in Ben and Pierre following him closely. If I noticed correctly, sadly we have lost Fox 1 around the previous turn point. He arrived really low. He had to continue further south. Unluckily, he didn't find any good thermals, and he's, I think, our second Outlander of the day.
Yeah, that's possible. I will check. Indeed. Chris, I think we will let you air, and we will follow the end of the race. Thanks a lot for having been here with us and answering our questions. Amazing news for everyone really tonight. So announcing the third version of Condor. We don't know yet when, but everyone is working on it, as you said. So thanks a lot, and we will see you later, Chris. Thanks. So back to the race with Witold Rozak from Poland now. Reaching Sisteron, turn point 6, and then he will have 17 kilometers to follow. Can we get back to the leaders, Timothée, right now, please, to see how it's going? For JJ, before reporting point 200 at 215 kph, trying to win the day now, the Belgian man.
Yeah, I don't think he has a need to push anymore. He'll just have to bring this one safely home, and he'll be the winner of this day. I think the fight further back for second place will be even more interesting between Ben and Pierre. They seem to be really close. I'm not sure who is higher.
Ben should be ahead. That's surprising because I think Donapierre was above the two pilots 15 kilometers ago. Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah, they are flying slightly faster than Juliet up in front, but I don't think they can catch him. We are at the final turn point, which is here to direct pilots to the finishing line. From here, I think only 3 kilometers left. Pilots will have to cross the finish line at 500 meters above mid-sea level, which will not be a problem for any of our leading contenders. And with this result, Ben will...
I think he will get back to, well, he will keep his first position at least.
Yes, he will. Oh, maybe not. We'll see where Witold finish. No, of course, no. He's
no. It's gonna be still okay. Yeah.
He will extend his lead and will now have a bit more comfortable buffer with JJ being second from today onwards.
Yeah, indeed. So that's JJ was catched up Witold, the Polish man. And I think that's the best flight of the week for Halil Koroglu, the Turkish man. So that's really nice to see. And Jeroen just made it until the end and wins the day, followed by Benfest, the German pilot now, flying at more than 230 kph, I think. Great race from the leaders, and Pierluigi, the Frenchman, now crossing the finish line a few seconds behind. So now we'll have to check penalties to confirm that podium.
And they all still have their water, even with all the struggles.
Yeah.
Again, we did not see pilots dropping water. I'm not even sure if the two Outlanders dropped water before they were forced to land out. So Again, we come back to this every time, even though I don't think it's really that interesting anymore. But a really, really good job for the Turkish guy. He flew really well today. I think he proved why he's here with us. But the biggest disappointments of the day, first of all, Fox won. He outlanded. He will not score any points today. But the second one is our yesterday winner, Vitold. He will finish sixth, as it looked like.
Yeah, it looks like it. Looks like his best place for the results this week. It was a short but really intense race. I'm waiting for the average speed of the day, and I think that we'll have that really shortly.
Yes, our streaming director really answering all of our requests really fast. Big thanks to him. You don't hear him in our streams, but there is him and other people working behind the scenes, working really hard to bring these live pictures to you. And it's a real team effort to make this happen every day. And I think we got the speeds. Yes. So JJJ finished the task with 129 kilometers per hour average speed, so almost 30 kilometers faster than they had in real world, which we kind of expected. And even though they struggled quite a bit during today's task, the average speeds at the end were really, really good.
Yeah, they've made really a great job today. With Benfest still leading the competition now, and Alil just arriving right now. So that's the fourth position, right?
Yes, that's the fourth position, his best of the competition. I would like to see the battle between Alpha Mike and somebody else. I think we have a side-by-side action there for the 7th place. It's November X-Ray. That seems to be the closest we have to pilots right now.
Yeah, indeed.
Oh yeah, that looks good.
Oh, that's Arne who's got a lot of speed with Tim Kuipers just behind him, trying to push, but looks like it's too late now. With minimum of 500 meters, they're not going to be able to push more than that.
Yeah, he's not flying as fast as we saw some of the others. While in front, Vitold has finished in place, if I counted correctly. This will be disappointment for him. He was only 1 point behind our leader. He will drop at least 1 place in the overall standings after today. Again, a good flight with Arne. We saw some great onboards again from him. Thank you for sharing your stream with us. It's a really nice insight. And of course, congratulations for finishing your task as well. And this really, really nice final glide where again he got some positions back.
Yeah, indeed. So that's on the 6th position for Alpha Mike, right? And then 7th for Tim Kuipers. And Vitold finished on the 5th place. Yeah. Now Gorka arriving. The Spanish man. And I think he's flying an ASH31 in real life. He has quite a good glider to fly in Spain. Yeah, and last point, just behind him will be for TKM. Indeed. Oh, and there is Nobuhiro Okada as well, a Japanese man who can catch him up.
Yeah, he does have quite a lot of altitude. I think he can push a bit more if he wants to.
Yeah, I think he can. He can do so, yeah.
Well, as long as he does have some altitude difference towards TKM, he can still afford to observe him for a while and then push, but he must
Yeah.
be careful not to wait for too long.
Yeah, I hope for him that he sees Tim in front of him, because that's the last point of the day for the pilots. And I think he didn't
should
see him
have
yet.
him on the farm.
Oh yeah, now he has him. Oh, that's gonna be very tight for him. Both pilots are really pushing. Yeah, will it be enough for Nobuhiro for the last point? Looks like TKM can hold him for now. Now he's pushing. It's gonna be close on the line. Yeah, and Tim should win on finish line. I pushed too late. Yeah, I think Tim made it before him. No,
Yeah, I think
it's really close.
a big mistake there from the Japanese pilot. He
Ca-
definitely had enough energy to take this one.
Yeah, can you confirm, Tim, on the preliminary results from Condor that indeed Tim finished just before the Japanese man? Yes, TKM, then Yankee Zulu Romeo. That's confirmed. The last point is for TKM.
Yeah, I did some calculations. I hope they're correct, but if I counted correctly, after today we should have Ben in Bravo Fox in the first place overall with 36 points, followed by JJ with 35 points, and in the third place overall Vitold with 32 points, and then Pierre with 30 points. So I hope my math is correct, but
We'll check.
it's close at least, and this means we do have our first 4 pilots all in 6 points. So anybody of them can still win the overall at the end of the week.
Yeah, Mark, for the interviews, who would you like to hear tonight? Maybe Jeroen Jenen, the Belgian man that we didn't have the chance to hear so far.
I think that would be really good, yes.
And maybe if we can have Halil Koroglu as well on the force on his best day, if you can make that. So guys, prepare your cameras if you have ones, and I will go get them now. I'll let you handle the live.
As we see the last pilots finishing up, Krešimir on our screen right now. We didn't see that much of him in the late phases of the flight. He did quite well in the first half. He pushed a bit harder, got himself into the leading group. We did not see where he made a mistake. He's only now turning the last turn point. While we wait to have interviews, we expect Juliet and Uniform Romeo to be with us. If you want to know something from our winning pilots today, you can of course also ask them questions. If there's something interesting, we'll be, of course, be happy to forward your thoughts to them. Can we go to the 2D view to see how far our final contenders are from the finish line, please? Perfect, thank you. So we actually see this quite big gap between people who already finished and people still flying in. Pilots that are in final glide right now, unfortunately, will not score any additional points, as only top 9 score points by SGP rules. But I'm sure all of them will be, again, really motivated to push and give it their all tomorrow when we have another day of racing. As discussed before, it is quite possible that due to bad weather conditions in France, in real life tomorrow, there will be no task for the Sailplane Grand Prix. This is, of course, not confirmed, so stay tuned and follow the stream around noon. But if that is the case and we do not get task from them, we will give our virtual pilots completely unique and different task, and the weather will be set to bombastic, so you can expect some really, really exciting racing with speeds reaching maybe even up to 200 kilometers per hour. Exciting stuff that you definitely shouldn't miss. And I think we can soon say hi to Jérôme, if I'm correct, Antoine.
Yeah, so that's the Belgian pilot with us. Tonight was one the day. He has often made really good performances. Yeah, so yeah, I'm here as well. Welcome tonight. How do you feel? Can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you. Thank you for the congratulations. I feel excited now because I won, but my heart rate was quite high on the final glide because I thought Ben or Don Luigi would maybe catch me, but apparently my track was quite okay.
Yeah. We've seen you kind of struggling at the beginning. You were a bit behind the leaders, and then you flew very well to catch them up again. And yeah, we did not expect you to be really the first one at Sisteron on the last turn point. To be honest, we are following as well the chat with Condor because we were with Chris from Condor team tonight on the chat, and they announced big news that Condor 3 would come out soon. So it was really nice to have them. Yeah, so we kind of lost the race between Saint-Just and Sisteron, but we could see that you were still trying to get the guys ahead of you to make at least the podium and finally the victory tonight. So yeah, big congrats to you. Now you are well placed on the overall results. Well, what do you expect for the next day? So 2 days left, basically. Maybe tomorrow a big day with a bombastic day if it's not flying in Saint-Auban. So yeah, do you think it's gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'm curious about the next 2 days. I think the tactics will be a little bit more than the previous days, and we will watch each other. But yeah, I'm wondering about the task when that day is cancelled in Saint-Auban. Will be fun, I think, but maybe a little bit tricky as well to not overestimate what you're doing and try to steal the points.
Well, thanks a lot, Jeroen. Congratulations for tonight. I'm sure you will do amazing races tomorrow and and for the last day. And we have a lot of insect coming tonight as well in Saint-Auban because it's so lighted and everything is open. Yeah. Well, thanks a lot, Jeroen, for this interview, and we'll see you tomorrow for the race.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you for you guys also for putting this energy in this competition and organizing it. It's quite wonderful to fly and have the atmosphere here.
Thanks. Thanks for the team.
Yeah, bye-bye.
Yeah, stay connected, guys. We will try to have the Turkish pilots coming up soon.
Yeah, it was really interesting to see him say how his heart was racing in the final glide. It is only virtual, but these pilots take it really seriously, and they do put a lot of effort into what they're doing. And you could see he was really, let's say, relieved when he crossed the finish line in the first place.
Yeah, indeed, you're right, Mark. You're right. I'm trying to have Alil in a few moments, just doing the technical part of it, while some pilots are arriving at Saint-Auban right now.
Yeah, Francois in Romeo Whiskey will be the latest pilot to arrive. I'm not sure if there are still pilots flying behind him. Yes, of course they are, with Christian in Sierra 2. Maybe a 2D overview will give us a better picture of what is still happening in the air. we may have one pilot now flying even towards that turn point. So Romeo Sierra Tango with Tango Sierra quite far behind. These pilots, of course, will not score any points, but they will still do their best to finish the task. And they deserve all the praise for that as well. To all of you who are still with us, don't go anywhere. We have one more interview coming with our Turkish pilot who finished in the 4th place. Really good result for him, his best in all of this competition. 22-year-old, a really interesting guy, and it'll be really nice to hear what he has to say about his flight today.
Yeah, and don't forget that at the end of this live streaming, you'll be able to watch the highlights from today's race at the Real Sailplane Grand Prix with the win of Sebastian Cava.
I would like to express a big thank again to Chris for joining us in today's stream. I just noticed that he has also been really active on the comment section. So if we missed some of your questions, I see he took the time and also answered you there. I really appreciate him being with us, and we're happy to bring you some interesting people in our live streams. In the future, maybe also again some pilots from Sailplane Grand Prix, now with well, most of our team being located in Saint-Auban, where the event is happening.
Yeah, so if Alil cannot join, we are trying to resolve the issues, but if he cannot join, we'll have Arne Martin Guttler as well coming up.
Still waiting for our next pilot to join us. We have some technical issues connecting. We try to bring you the web camera as well for every pilot that we interview.
Yeah, that's what it takes a little bit more time. We can just have the voice with Discord, and we're trying to have some videos to make it a little bit more fun. So probably the next one will be Arne Martin Guttler from Norway coming up. He finished on the 6th position tonight, scoring 4 points. If there are no penalties for him and for the guys ahead, I'm just gonna check on the results or what it would be for him. So before tonight's race, he was placed just on the top 5 with 21 points. So that would be 25 points for him. That's not too bad, even pretty good, to be honest. So yeah.
Yeah, his total points score still allows him to potentially even come on top of the whole competition. Of course, it'll be hard, but we still have 20 points available in the next 2 days, which is, of course, enough for him to jump quite far up the leaderboard. Also, we have to all thank him for providing us with a really good stream that we are able to to put into our live broadcast. He's flying with Oculus, and I'm always really glad to check on how it looks like from his view. And yeah.
Yeah, great. Well, he is coming, I think. Anne Martin is going to be with us in a short moment.
Hello? You hear me?
Yes. I think you can cut one of your mic, either from Discord or from OBS.
Yeah, it's better now.
I think it's good. Tim can confirm. Just wait a second. Yeah, there's a small echo, but we will do it like this. And that's gonna be okay. Well, congratulations for the competition so far for you. You were on the top 5 before this race. No, I think you're gonna be more or less as well on the top 5 tonight. Maybe top 4. We need to check the results afterwards. There may be some penalties. We don't know yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, really consistent flights. Yesterday we were flying really high compared to the other competitors. So I think it was strategy from you to be able maybe to catch the guys following in the flatlands in the end, maybe, and to get an advantage on that. But it was interesting to follow, honestly. So yeah, congrats for tonight as well. What can you tell us from this flight?
Well, tonight I felt not much was working at all. I felt like every time I tried to try the thermal, somebody else tried another thermal and got much better lift than me and got quite low at some point and felt I felt quite far behind. But
yeah, but
did a reasonable catch up at the end, which got me up a few places.
Yeah, you had some good lift. We could see your Twitch live, so we are using your images from time to time, and we can see that you have 1.5 to 2.5 meters sometimes. So there was some quite good thermals, but I think it was really difficult to find the good ones and to select really the best thermals for the day. So yeah,
you
it was
have
tough job.
luck to find the really good thermals today. There were some really good ones, but you had some luck to find them.
Yeah, well, that was great to follow. Anyway, do you have any goals for the next 2 days? Probably tomorrow we'll have a bombastic flight if it's not flying here in Saint-Auban in the real SGP. Do you like this type of flights where it goes fast like this, or is it something you're used to do?
More reasonable speeds.
Yeah,
I'm not that good at really fast flights. But we will see. I will just take it as it comes. Try my best.
Yeah. like every day we try to do and you try to do, I guess. Well, thanks a lot, Arne. Do you want to say something more? I'm sure some people from Norway are watching.
Yeah. First of all, I'd just like to thank you for hosting this great competition. It's awesome to see how much you've been doing and how much work you're putting into this. And it's very professional. I really appreciate it. And the opportunity to participate too. I just want to thank you for that.
Well, thanks a lot. We'll try to improve. Every day we try to improve, just like you. We've had, a lot of scoring issues that we were not at all expecting, to be honest, before the contest. We thought it would work without any issue. And so it took us quite some time, quite some work to make it work in the end. But we're trying to make things professional and make it work to have a solid base for the next years to come, to be able to just have a solid base for improving the esport process and to be able to develop gliding worldwide. I think that's the main idea behind to train people worldwide everywhere. And maybe we have the example with Alil from Turkey. He's flying for just a year, and maybe in 10 years he will be creating a gliding club somewhere in Turkey, and will be training pilots. So just imagine the potential that this sport can have, and esports as well. Yeah. So yeah, and maybe I will see you in Saint-Auban someday, because I know you fly as well in real, and you fly good in real. So
certainly we'll be back there someday.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, thanks a lot, Arne, for this interview, and all the best really for the next days. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Bye.
Well, that was really interesting to hear again from him, and again, congratulations to him, to all the pilots, and thanks for the streaming of his flight. At this point, I think I will head out. I would like to thank you for inviting me to comment here. I wish you have 2 really nice days ahead, and I know you will see some exciting racing. And
Yeah, thanks a lot, Mark. Indeed, we're gonna go with the highlight of the day. That's a video made by the video production team here in Saint-Auban. That's a video that lasts 3 or 10 minutes, where you can see really what happened today. Really tough task for all the pilots in both virtual and real race. Win from Sebastian Cava, his first win of the week here, and now he's taking lead of the real Sailplane Grand Prix. Only 2 days left for all the pilots now. Enjoy the video, guys. Thank you for following us tonight, and we will see you tomorrow. Thanks a lot. Good evening.
Good evening. Good night.
Welcome to Saint-Auban. It's the finale of the Sailplane Grand Prix.
Every day is a new day.
It doesn't look very strong.
Maybe not so fast, for sure.
All is open. Let's race again.
The task today was under a very leaden and flat sky with difficult conditions. We had a triangle which went off to the south over the plateau, and then north and towards north of Sistron, and then back over the airfield of Saint-Auban, and once again over the plateau before returning to the control point for the final glide. The start was good, everybody got away okay, and the first leg was just a large gaggle climbing together in weak thermals under a pretty flat sky with no cumulus. The whole group stayed together until nearly at the turning point with 20 kilometers to run, and a small group tried to break away and found a climb in the valley to the east of the first leg. Everybody else continued into the turning point, flying slowly and looking for whatever climbs they could find. Once the turning point was reached, that large group went back to the breakaway group and found their climb, and they progressed from there until halfway down the second leg, when the group of Philippe and Marius and Sylvain went off well to the right and looked like they were going to do quite well. But it was still very difficult conditions with weak thermals, flat sky, and quite low flying, mostly below 1500 meters over ground that is 700 meters. As they came into the second turn, Uli and Thilo got really quite low, but they managed to climb away on the edge of the escarpment from only a few hundred meters. Everybody found this very difficult point and moved away until they found a good climb which brought them back over the plateau Puy-Michel. This climb came up to over 2,000 meters, and the conditions had improved a little, allowing them to maintain a good altitude to run into the turn at Montfort near to Saint-Auban airfield. From the Montfort turn, the situation was quite difficult, but most people had a good altitude, 2,600 as they left the plateau, and allowed them to go round to the Valenty turn point, well to the north, but the air was completely flat, and most people turned at 1,600, 1,500 meters. The return was still flat until Sebastian found a climb just a few kilometers to the north of Saint-Aubin, and it turned into a really good climb. He was first there, caught the bubble, and it took him up to a very good altitude. 2,400 meters was enough for him to connect with an energy line which had appeared going from Saint-Aubin towards the last turning point to the south. This energy line was a very useful route and provided 2 or 3 good thermals, and everybody from this point on was able to continue racing and stay quite high. The first climb on the plateau, most people joined in the thermal, but Sebastian had managed to maintain his position at the front. The run into the southernmost turning point was good. Just before the turning point, Mario tried to break away a little, but he never really had the altitude to do this. Although he was first around the turn, Sebastian had more height, and he was never in doubt going to be the first to the control point. Sebastian turned at 1,300 meters, followed by Mario about 1,000 meters, and Thilo all the time trying to catch Mario, but he didn't make it. Sebastian was first home on this day.
Congratulations. It was really impressive. How was it to fly it?
I just learned to fly with the Flarm. I found Philippe Depesche climbing on this grey hills here, and it was enough. I was first in this lift, and then it was easy.